worry about themselves. And they will want to be better this year to start the season than they were last. And the good news, it ain't going to be that difficult to be better this season than they were last year, where they struggled out of the gate. But we are loaded. Matt Larkin will join us. We'll talk all things NHL. Grant Fedoruk will be by. TR will join us today. Stan Bowman, GM of the Orders. We'll hear from Struds and Spec, DVD. Annie Petrillo will be by, of course. She is not only talking soccer, but also is now doing the Amazon Monday nights. So she'll be part of that broadcast. Also, if you're like, oh, I can't wait till the season begins. This took me quite a while. Quite proud of it. I came up with 100 stats for NHL milestones, records, streaks, slumps, and more. Right, starting from some players chasing huge milestones in Crosby and Ovechkin, of course, as he is 42 goals shy of Wayne Gretzky. There's a lot of stuff on Connor McDavid that the Oilers fans might not know about. I'm sure you know some of them. You probably don't know all of them. And where else he is going to move up in the ranks this season. He's already amongst some of the greatest. Patrick Kane, Austin Matthews, Brent Burns involved, and then I got some numbers for every team in the league. So that'll be fun. A few talking points for every organization. Is this the year? How about the fact the Montreal Canadiens have been in the NHL? This will be their 106th season. Pretty impressive. Actually, this will be the 107th. They've been in for 106. They have never missed the playoffs for more than 3 consecutive years, ever. But they need to make it this year to avoid that. They have actually only missed multiple seasons in a row 4 different times. You know what? You can load the Habs because of everything, but I'll tell you, they have been a model of consistency for a long time. And yes, I know they won more cups early on. That's fine. But even in the later years, they're not a team that's consistently near the bottom. This has been the longest, really, of the franchise, 3 years, and near the bottom. And realistically now, with 32 teams, you probably need that every now and then. Now, you don't want to go to the level of Buffalo Sabres, 13 years. That is far from ideal. Something that's going to happen, if it's not this year, then it's going to be next. The Boston Bruins are very likely to become the first team in the NHL that has 5 players who scored at least 1,000 points for their organization. Ray Bourque, Johnny Busick, Phil Esposito, Patrice Bergeron have already done it for the Bruins. Brad Marchand needs 71 points. Now, he's had 67 each of the last 2 seasons, so he might not get it this year, but it'll be next year. But guess what? When he does it next season, he probably will be first. But Leon Draisaitl, because McDavid's going to reach 1,000 points this year, Draisaitl needs 150 points. So sometime next season, I don't think he's going to get 150. It's pretty hard. Teammates have never had 150 points each. Close, though, when Jagger had 149. But the Oilers would become then the second franchise in NHL history to have 5 players who scored 1,000 points for their team. Not bad at all. Then you've got, John Tortorella. Old Torts. Guy has been around a long time. He's likely, I guess, unless he gets canned early. And when I look at their lineup and I look how they built their team, I would be surprised. I think they got to have realistic expectations in Philadelphia. They're coming in. No NHL team has less experience in goal. They have 60 combined starts amongst their goaltenders. Now, Calgary's not much above it, but Philadelphia has the fewest combined starts amongst NHL goaltenders. 59, and then Fedotov has 1. So there you go. Also, MLB playoffs continue on tonight, and it has been it's been a wild ride if you've been watching the playoffs. Of course, Cleveland and Detroit are now tied at 1. The Yankees and KC tied at 1. The Mets are tied at 1, as are the Dodgers. So they're all 1-1 through 2 games. Now it switches to New York tonight for the Phillies are there. And then the Dodgers on the road in San Diego, where the Padres absolutely smoked them in game 2. 6 home runs, beat him 10-2. So not bad at all. You can always get involved. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. In our Ewell inbox, some things to watch for the Oilers. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins needs 19 games to join Kevin Lowe and Ryan Smith as the only Oilers to play 900 games for the franchise. So let's say the Nugent Hopkins does play all 80. Let's just say he plays 80 games this season. Well, that will put him at 961 games, which would put him 10 back of Ryan Smith. So most likely he would pass Ryan Smith next year. And if he starts the season at 961, 39 plus 37. If he plays 77 games next year, so 80 this year and 77 next year, he would then pass Kevin Lowe and be number 1 all-time in games played as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. You look at Leon Draisaitl, another guy considering he signed his 8-year deal. He is tracking to reach the 1,000 game played mark. He's got 797 for the Oilers. He's going to play more than 203. That's obvious. Connor McDavid, when he signs his extension, there's another guy that, as we said before, that's why I said the Draisaitl contract was so monumental for the organization. It's a real true superstar. No offense to Nugent Hopkins. He's not a superstar. He's a good player, not a superstar. You have a superstar commit that long, the bulk of their career with your team, and I think McDavid is going to do the same thing next summer. Also, speaking of Draisaitl, he has been the most prolific power play guy in the NHL the last 3 years by a significant margin. He has 77 power play goals the last 3 years. The next highest is Sam Reinhart with 59. Draisaitl is already 60th all-time in the NHL in power play goals with 146. So let's just say he gets 20 more this year. Well, now he jumps up. He's into the top 40. Now, it's going to be really hard to catch Alex Ovechkin, who currently leads at 312. It's basically double Draisaitl right now. He's been unbelievable on the power play. And he's going to add to that this season. But Draisaitl might have a chance to I think he's got a pretty good chance the way he's going to catch Dave Andreychuk, but it'll take a while. Like, he'd have to score 20 more power play goals for at least 5 more seasons, which I think is doable. And we'll see where it goes from there. But the one thing that he could do this season is join Brett Hall, who did it 5 times, Tim Kerr, Luc Robitaille, Mike Bossy, Alex Ovechkin, for 4 consecutive. Actually, no. 4 consecutive, he would be second behind Hall. But then for 4 in a career, he would tie Bossy, Ovechkin, Robitaille, and Tim Kerr. So he's got a chance that's a record he could easily break. He has been that prolific for quite a while on the power play. Other one for the Oilers, we've talked about it a lot, but they will look to end the longest drought in the NHL. They have not won their division in 36 seasons. 1987 was the last time they were victorious. So they will try to change that this year. Right behind them, the Islanders at 35, and then the LA Kings, who last won in 1991 at 32 years. 32 seasons, I should say, not years. Connor Halley joins us. Cons, the big news today in the sporting world, the New York Jets have fired their coach. Your thoughts?
Mo Sally, yeah. I mean, it probably not the biggest, or Robert Salas, sorry. Yeah, he hadn't had a great start with the New York Jets, and easier to fire that coach and move on. You know, the problems, maybe not necessarily his fault when it comes to his background and his specialty. The defense was pretty good, I thought, for the most part. But offensively, they just, weren't moving the ball with any consistency. There was penalties pre-snap on the offensive side. So maybe just a way to kind of give your team that shot in the arm. Jeff Albrecht, the linebacker, defensive coordinator, will be taking over as the head coach. Former player, spent a long time with the Niners, takes over. But I mean, I think it's just a team in desperation that knows they're going down the wrong path. They're just a little bit too undisciplined right now, and this might be the quickest way for them to get back on track here. By all accounts, it was a big surprise to the players. The guys on the defensive side of the football absolutely loved him as a head coach, but the division's still within reach. The Bills have lost 2 straight games, so they're only a game back. They're going to meet again later in the season. Time to try and correct this ship here and just stop taking those penalties that really stop you before you even get going moving the football. So we'll see what happens next. Will they still be in the running, but to potentially go out there and bring in a Devontae Adams from the Raiders? I don't know. Maybe this is the time to do it, get that shakeup out of the way and try to get the guys going. But I thought for sure he'd make it through at least the regular season, Gregor. This kind of came as a bit of a surprise.
Well, it's clear if you just look at on-field interaction, him and the quarterback don't get along. And if the owner opted to side with the aging quarterback whose best days are behind them, that is a capital D dysfunction for me. So, we'll see. I know, oh yeah, we get along great. Okay, but your public displays suggest something different. So, what I don't really understand, like the Jets' offense is the issue, not their defense. So they fire the head coach, but they don't fire the offensive coordinator. What's he going to do different?
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett, right? We know they're buddies, Aaron Rodgers and he, going back to their time in Green Bay, working together. It is interesting because the defense is good. Sal put together a really good group. That's his side of the football. He came over from the Niners where he was, a really good defensive coordinator, and it's the offense that lets them down and they move ways from their coach. I don't know how it's going to work out, Gregor. Like I said, maybe it's just kind of that shot, hey, something has to change. This is it. We saw it last year with the Oilers making their move at the same, after 2-9-1 start, whatever it was. Maybe that's what they're hoping for here. This will just get guys a little bit more locked in. But I think at the same time, a popular head coach in the NFL, maybe it goes the other way. So it'll be interesting to see how the Jets show up going forward here. And again, I want to see if they're looking at this as we are in win now mode. We have to turn this thing around. I mean, you might as well go out there and get Devontae Adams. You might as well go get Aaron Rodgers, his guy, because this decision kind of shows that you're going with what he wants to do.
Hey guys, Tim Kerr, the NHL's true power play merge. Did you ever hear his name in other conversations? Not likely, the juice. Well, what about 50 goal scorer? Tim Kerr was one of the best big men in the game, and then his career got cut short due to injury, unfortunately. But Tim Kerr, man, was a tower of power for the Philadelphia Flyers. He was, was he great in front? They couldn't stop him. Everybody else had the same chance to be a power play guy, and they couldn't do it. Right? I had Tim Kerr. It's too bad that his career got cut short because, man, he had 4. How many guys have 4 consecutive seasons of 50 goals? Not many. And then he got injured in 88. And then now he did come back the next year, was pretty good. But you got to remember that the surgery back in 1988 and rehab and like the medical advancements today it's night and day. It's night and day for every surgery. But you had knee and anything like that back, your knee, you used to screw your knee up. It was pretty much your chances of coming back from that and being effective were so low. And it's too bad because, man, Tim Kerr was dynamite because he had 4 consecutive years of 50. Then he got hurt, only played 8 games. Then he came back the next year. Didn't start the season, but came back and had 48 goals in 69 games. If it plays a full season, he's on pace again for 50. It was short-lived due to injury, but Tim Kerr was a hell of a player. 370 goals in 655 games. That is, it's pretty damn impressive. And, it's interesting. So if you compare him, now Cam Neely was more aggressive, right? He fought for sure. But if you look at Neely's numbers, he only played 726 games. Kerr played 655. Kerr had 370 goals in, what was he play? 70 fewer games? 25 goals in 70 fewer games than Cam Neely. And Cam Neely's a Hall of Famer. Right? It is interesting. Right? Neely, guess what? You know what, Cam Neely? Tim Kerr had 3 90-point seasons and 2 80-point seasons. Cam Neely had a 93, a 98, 84, 95, 88. Pretty damn close, right? Sorry, that's Tim Kerr. Neely had points 92 and 91. That's it. Like, honestly, if you go look at their numbers, tell me the real big difference between Neely and Kerr. Kerr was a point-a-game player. Cam Neely wasn't. 370 goals in 655 games compared to 395 and 726. I got to look what the goals per game is, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be much difference. Points per game, Kerr was higher. So it's funny how it's interesting. I did a long interview today with an NHL agent for their agency. I was just there as asking the questions, and a lot of the focus was talking about perceptions and how the perception of player, one of the most important job an agent has, is if there's sometimes the perception of your player is right. Good perception, bad perception, because sometimes it's right. In some cases, it can be wrong. And it's your job to show why that perception is incorrect. And I think Tim Kerr, Cam Neely, when you look at their numbers, one's a Hall of Famer, one's never talked about being a Hall of Famer. And Tim Kerr had 4 50-goal seasons. Cam Neely had 3. Right now, Cam Neely had maybe a more talked about injury, right? Because Samuelson's going after his knee and it's showing more. But man, thanks for bringing up his name, Juice, because I look at Tim Kerr. I've always thought he was highly underrated for how good he was. And then when you look at his numbers there, you can make a real strong case that Tim Kerr, not much of a difference from him and Cam Neely. Cam Neely was a little more of a fighter for sure. 2:20. When we return, Matt Larkin will join us on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
When you want to recognize the top performer on your team, come create memorable and customized trophies and awards with Elite Promotional Marketing. Elite's in-house design team will help you achieve your corporate award goals. Head to elitepromomarketing.com.
This is Nuge's Nuggets, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. What nugget of heating and cooling advice does Nuge have today?
You can save a lot of money by bundling your new furnace and AC with Legacy. It's kind of like saving money on an endorsement by bundling me, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, with someone like, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Thanks for suggesting me, Nuge. Get no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new AC and furnace from Legacy Heating and Cooling. Proud sponsor of Nuge's Nuggets.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantor.
.225 Sports 1440 Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. If you missed it, we mentioned this yesterday on the show that we wouldn't be surprised. Vegas, I don't think was expecting. They put in multiple claims and ended up getting multiple players, both right wingers, and they've elected to put Raphael Lavoie back on waivers today. Now, if no other team claims him, so it would have to, because the waiver wire is based on, it would have to be a team who finished higher in the standings than Vegas last season that would put in a claim for him, because all the teams below him didn't put in a claim. Otherwise, of course, they would have got him yesterday. And if he doesn't, if the Oilers put in a claim, which I expect they would, then they would get him. So the teams above Vegas, Tampa, LA, Nashville, Toronto, Edmonton, Colorado, Boston, Vancouver, Florida, Winnipeg, Carolina, and the Dallas Stars. Now, if one of those other teams puts a claim in, then the Oilers can get him, but they have to keep him on the roster, which obviously I don't think they want to do. So, and then what happens, right? Like, let's say in some weird world, Colorado, Boston, Vancouver, Florida, Winnipeg, Carolina, Dallas, New York, if one of them also put in a claim, then the Oilers would get him first because they're lower, but they can't send him directly to the minors. And then that would impact their salary cap situation. So, and not have them as close. So there's lots of things you have to look at. That's not true, because he'd go on waivers. It'd be tomorrow by the time he clears. So by then it would be fine. Now that I'm speaking out loud, wouldn't matter. So if I'm the Oilers, of course you put in a claim, right? You can get the player back. You have some depth in your organization. Oh, goes. To be disappointing for Raphael Lavoie. Thought maybe he was going to get another chance. Then all of a sudden, maybe not. So we'll see. But I guess the Oilers could opt not to put a claim in, but I'd be a little surprised by that. So you don't want to just, lose a player depth. Even if he only upstanding in the American League all season long, you know what? You'd have him for depth at least for one more season. So there you go. Let's go around the NHL now, brought to you by McDonald's, and it's back, baby. One of your favorite games, if not your favorite game. At McDonald's, Monopoly is here. All sorts of great prizes. You can win easy food or bigger prizes. So play today only at McDonald's. You've got the double play and many other things. So Good luck. You get the game board, and away you go. Our next guest, he likes to play a lot of games. I don't know if he plays Monopoly or not, but something tells me he might. I'm guessing he's a quarter pounder guy. We'll see. Matt Larkin from Daily Faceoff joins us. Matty, how you doing?
Jason, are you psychic, my friend? I am a quarter pounder.
Oh, there you go.
You absolutely nailed it. You nailed it. And I have to say, though, as someone with young kids, it's weird how the Monopoly game has changed from McDonald's, because it used to be the physical game board. Now you have to do a lot of stuff with apps. It's awfully intimidating, but it's still fun.
Yeah, it's, there's something about, getting that. You got to get your little flipper on. Oh, do you win right? I don't know. I kind of like the instant gratification. I'm not going to lie. So it's not bad. I know you can still get it. But yeah, now there's instant win on prize packs. You can collect to win like vehicles and stuff like that, furniture. So lots of things to play in. The NHL season, North America version, gets going today as the triple header, which will see Seattle for the first time in franchise history opening up the season on home ice as they take on St. Louis, who has did you know the St. Louis Blues have the second best road record in season opening games in NHL history? Only Vegas, who's only had 2, has a better road record in their first game when they start the season on the road. So it might not be an easy night tonight for the Kraken. What do you make of the Kraken and your expectations for them this season?
Yeah, the Kraken, they're a confounding team for me, Jason. And by the way, if anybody's following live, that game's about to start, and it sounds like Jordan Eberle has had the C added in the listed lineup for that game. So it appears he's going to be unveiled as the captain momentarily.
There you go.
There you go, former Oiler, of course. As for the Kraken, to me, I wonder if making the playoffs in their second year really just messed up the trajectory of the organization, because it created these false expectations. They knocked off the defending champions at the time, Colorado, Game 7. They almost beat Dallas that year in Game 7. And suddenly you had Ron Francis thinking maybe this franchise is ahead of schedule. So then you fire Dave Haxtell because it's a disappointment last year. And then in this offseason, obviously they're big spenders. You're bringing in Chandler Stevenson and Brandon Montour, both on 7-year deals, big money. And I just look at this team and say, okay, you've improved them, but now you're kind of in the murky middle. You're still a young franchise. You're only a few years into your existence. You're supposed to be building up your pipeline, adding young players. And I don't know if this team wants to be good yet, but because you have improved, which I think we all agree they would, they have improved in the offseason, they're going to be better. They're going to be, I think, pushing LA in that 4-5 spot in the Pacific Division. So I think they're going to be competitive, but I worry they're kind of destined to live in that murky middle, and in which you're a wild card team, but you're not really competitive.
You look at that it's the worst place to be. I call it hockey purgatory. You're not good enough to suck and be bad and get a top pick, and then you're not, bad enough, and then you're not good enough to compete for the cup, so you do nothing. It's the worst place to be, and some teams have been stuck there for quite some time. The Atlantic Division, if you're Detroit, Montreal, Ottawa, and Buffalo, you've been stuck on the outside for quite a while. Do you see that changing this year? Can one of those teams either get the second wild card or pass one of the top 4 teams in the Atlantic?
Well, you're giving me a great to plug what we have on Daily Faceoff right now, which is our predictions, our standing predictions. That includes yours and mine. And I know you have Buffalo getting one of those wild card spots and Ottawa. I admire the bold take. I'm sort of down after years of predicting that Buffalo is going to break through. And this year I'm saying, no, I'm done. I want you to prove it to me. I don't have Detroit or Buffalo or Ottawa making the playoffs. I don't think I've seen enough improvement in any of the cases. So Detroit, you're bringing in Vladimir Tarasenko. I don't think that really moves the needle for a team that actually got really lucky last year with their puck luck. So I know they barely missed the playoffs, but they weren't very good defensively. I don't think they're improved enough to get in. Buffalo, I think similarly, you buy out Jeff Skinner. He had 24 goals. You need those 24 goals. And I don't see, again, enough improvement to that roster that wasn't good enough last year. Ottawa, I think, maybe to me, in terms of the range of outcomes, it's the widest because Linus Ullmark could be the great equalizer, of course. But overall, you lose Jacob Chychrun. I don't know if what comes in actually trumps what went out. So I'm predicting it's going to be the usual suspects: Florida, Toronto, Boston, Tampa Bay for at least one more year. And maybe by next year, we finally see some change. At the same time, by then, Montreal could be rising up. So I do think Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa, they should have gotten in by now, and they're missing what should be windows of contention.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me. The New York Rangers, the Devils, Carolina, to me, Matt, is the team that they've been really consistent for a long time. They lost Pesce, they lost Brady Shea on the back end, Teravainen, and I look at the guys they brought in on their back end. They're good, but they're totally different types of defenders, more offensive minded. What do you make of the Hurricanes? And I don't think they drop out of the playoffs, but do they drop out of being a real contender?
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there. And if you look at our standings predictions on Daily Faceoff, Carolina is consensus number 3. Every single voter has them finishing behind the Rangers and in most cases the New Jersey Devils. And it's funny, I remember talking to Seth Jarvis after the season, and I was asking him, the wound was fresh. They had just been eliminated by New York. And I said, how are you handling this? And he said, honestly, I can't even talk about it. I'm not going to be able to talk about it for a long time. And the reason was, he said everyone in the room understood it was the end of something. They were losing so many bodies from a team that should have broken through and reached the Stanley Cup final. And it's true, this team does not look as formidable. You've got Jake Gensel gone as well. Jack Roslovic coming in. That's not going to be a direct replacement of what Jake Gensel could bring in that top 6. And I agree, what's coming in on defense, especially Shane Gostisbehere, of course, as we like to call him, it's not going to be the same in terms of the two-way ability that group had. And even goaltending is a question mark. Freddie Anderson was great in the regular season. He never seems to get it done in the playoffs. Pyotr Kochetkov is the heir apparent, of course, the number 2, but he also has not been a world beater when called upon in the playoffs. So I think this is still a very competitive team. It's impossible not to be under Rod Brind'Amour, but I do worry the window was missed, and I don't think the ceiling is as high for this group.
Yeah, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. I think their window is slowly closing in my eyes. And they were competitive. They were very good, but they weren't able to get over the top. And to me, now they've lost 2 of their top 4 defensemen. They've replaced them with guys who aren't as good. And they still don't have, a go-to elite guy. I know everybody's high on Jarvis. I really like Jarvis, but I don't see him being an elite player. I think he's a really good player.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's sort of been the bugaboo for this team in the entire Rod Brind'Amour era. You never see a Hurricanes player scoring 50 goals or 100 points. They're never near the top of the board. Not since Eric Stahl, really, back in 05-06, had 100 points. Have they really had a player of that echelon offensively? And I think it's repeatedly been a problem finding that finisher. So I don't know. I feel like last year, just spiritually, it was the year. That's why they finally ponied up. They took their shot. They traded prospects. They traded picks to get Jake Gensel, and he really was a great fit, but it wasn't enough to put them over the top. And when you take your big swing and you miss, you sort of have to put your tail between your legs, if you will, and accept that your team's not going to be maybe as strong. So the only thing you can hope for is that maybe this is sort of a post-hype edition of the Hurricanes, maybe less pressure on the team because the expectations are a bit lower.
Matt Larkin joins us from Daily Faceoff as the NHL season North America version is officially underway. They're in Seattle. They're hosting the St. Louis Blues. Jordan Eberle is got the C on his jersey today for the Kraken, and it's a triple header day in the National Hockey League as you'll have Boston in Florida as they raise the banner. Chicago's in Utah, home opener for the brand new, the 40th official franchise in NHL history. There's 32 active and now 8 defunct franchises, including the Coyotes, but it goes way back to the Montreal Wanderers, Montreal Maroons, everybody else like that and in between. And then tomorrow, the 6 of the Canadian teams get involved. Ottawa gets going on Thursday. If you look at Winnipeg, Matt, where do you see the Jets going this season?
It's funny, so I was just talking about Carolina shooting its shot last year, and I really think that's the same case for the Winnipeg Jets, right? They traded picks. They acquired Tyler Toffoli and Sean Monahan, and they had one of their best regular seasons in franchise history, Vezina Trophy for Connor Halley. I really think that was a crucially important year for the franchise to make a deep run, and I think we're going to see them take a step back, and I think it's a bit scary because there are other teams in the Central that look improved to me, Nashville being one of them. I think St. Louis is being slept on. I think Utah looks better. So I expect the Jets to go back in the pack a little bit. And if you're trying to find something to be hopeful about, if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan, you need to see some improvement from within. Obviously, they didn't add much at all in the offseason. You have to look at someone like a Cole Perfetti and hope that he gets the consistent playing time is in the lineup for all 82 games and gets a chance to really blossom. And under Scott Arniel, who is an internal hire, I don't know 100% if there's going to be a different culture than what we saw under Rick Bowness. So I'm hoping you're going to see Perfetti especially break out, but nothing is guaranteed. I still think the Jets are going to be competitive, but I don't think they look nearly as formidable as they did even just last April.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, I think it's tough because Dallas is good. Now, Colorado, Landeskog, you know, they were hoping this Cinderella story would come true, and at least not yet, Matt. Do you think we ever see him in an NHL game again?
Sorry, you cut out for a sec, Jason. I didn't hear what you said.
On Landeskog. Do you think we ever see him in the NHL again?
Well, it's tough. You know, I want to believe it. I have also been pretty skeptical. Just the injury, the cartilage replacement, I believe it was pretty serious. But at the same time, you know, I was at the player media tour in the summer. We were talking to Nathan McKinnon, and he seemed pretty optimistic. He seemed like someone who expected to have his longtime buddy and captain back in the lineup. So I think we have to take what the Avalanche have been saying at face value and assume we're going to see him at least try to come back into game action. The problem is, once he's back, what version of him is it going to be? Is it going to be the same dominant power forward who won the Cup in 2022? Is he going to be able to stay in the lineup? I'm pretty skeptical. And the Avalanche, they're a team that's in a tough situation to start the year, of course, because they're waiting for Valeri Nichushkin to come back. They're waiting for Arturi Lehkonen as well. They've been really jammed up against the cap, and they're basically relying on kind of taking swings with their depth and hoping that, for example, a rookie like Cal Ritchie is going to break through and be an impact player. I still think they have the superstar power to get by. And it's funny, I think what's going to happen is you're going to have a dominant team in the Western Conference that's going to finish as a high seed, and maybe you have Colorado dropping down into a wild card spot because they're probably going to start a little slow. And that's going to be the reward. You're going to win a division and maybe have to face Colorado, kind of like what happened with Dallas last year when they got Vegas in the first round. So I'm a little worried about Colorado. I do think they'll figure it out and stay competitive enough to make the playoffs.
Outside of New Jersey, do you have a team who missed the playoffs last year who you're confident gets in this year?
Confident? No. I do think the New Jersey, obviously that's the tap-in pick, the easy pick of a team that's going to make it. I think the other tier would be a team that's more of a sleeper to get in that didn't make it last year. I wonder about the Philadelphia Flyers. I think people forget how competitive they were for much of the season under John Tortorella. And when someone like Matt Van Mitchkov is thrown into the pot, there's just no telling what the ripple effect could be there if he is as good as advertised. He looked really good the preseason. I think everyone knew it. He was obviously a titillating scorer, but his work ethic really fits into Tortorella's system. And if you look at the goaltending, I'm not very confident in it, but if someone like Ivan Fedotov is better than expected, then maybe that changes everything for the Flyers. I think that division, the bottom half especially, is a little bit up for grabs. So maybe the Flyers are a sleeper. I also think the St. Louis Blues are a bit of a sleeper. I think their forward depth is underrated. Obviously, Dylan Holloway. I'm sorry if that's a tough one to hear, Oilers fans, but you're adding him to that top nine. You've added Alexander Tessier as well. You still have Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou in their primes. Jake Neighbors broke out last year. They have good goaltending as well. So I think the Blues are a deep sleeper. I know when we did our divisional projections, I had St. Louis higher than anyone else. I think they have a shot to make a little bit of noise in that Central.
Matt, good stuff, man. People can read all the predictions at Daily Faceoff. Should be a fun season. We look forward to it. We'll chat with you again soon, man. Have a great day.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you for having me.
There you go. That's Matt Larkin from Daily Faceoff. So, this just coming down. The Elks, Trey Ford is going to start. Jarrett Doji will back up and get some playing time. Bethel Thompson will not dress. Now he got rocked pretty hard in that game, Cons. So I don't know if he's banged up, but now I don't think they've been dressing three quarterbacks though most games. So maybe that's the reason why. I have to look.
Crew Cop dresses.
Oh yeah,
but
that's
just
right.
the
Yeah,
short yardage. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, sorry, like three. Yeah, Pro Cop comes in and he's just your short yardage guy. So, now you know what? Anybody out there knows this is the right decision. It's just a few weeks too late. That's all. 244, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. We will take a quick break, come back. We got lots more hockey talk for you, and we'll talk a little health on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
And you've had since 1999. That's a good friend. And Booster Juice was there. Now celebrating 25 years in Canada and more than 450 locations from coast to coast. A silver anniversary splashed with lots of oranges. Celebrate 25 years of Booster Juice with the return of OG favorite smoothies like the Orangesicle, the Marathon, and the Original, made with oranges, bananas, strawberries, strawberry sorbet, and probiotic yogurt. Happy 25th Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
It's Midnight Madness at the Brick. Stores will be closed on Friday to lower prices and then reopen at 5 p.m. with incredible 7-hour deals in every department. Get 30% off furniture and free local delivery when you spend $4.99 or more. Plus, get 40% off mattresses and buy any TV or appliance to get a $50 credit for furniture, home decor, and mattresses. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Gateway Toyota treats us like we're precious gems.
Because that's what we are.
Every vehicle purchased from Gateway Toyota includes enrollment into their GEM program. It stands for Gateway Exclusive Membership.
And it gives you 5-year access to over $2,500 in benefits.
Free oil changes.
Free tire and windshield repair.
Free car washes.
Even an annual detailing.
You'll also get special discounts, trade-in bonuses, and referral rewards.
I feel like a gem.
At Gateway Toyota, just off Calgary Trail at Ellerslie Road.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
At Toyota, we believe your vehicle is more than just a ride. It's family. So make sure it's prepared for whatever Mother Nature has in store. Because winter's a lot like some people's in-laws. It's cold, shows up unexpectedly, and refuses to leave. Trust the experts at Toyota for premium winter tires, batteries, brakes, and more. Beat the winter rush. Book an appointment at shoptoyota.ca or contact your local Toyota dealer today.
A little afternoon hockey. Cons will keep us updated as the Blues, Dylan Holloway, Philip Broberg. Ooh, that one's going to sting. I know some Oilers fans are going to be upset all year long if they have good years, especially Holloway is starting on the top line in St. Louis right now. Now, it's great. Starting there, staying there, 2 very different things. I wish him well. Hope it works out. He'll probably be pretty fired up to have it work for him. Opportunity for sure. I thought out of the two offer sheets, that was the one that was more plausible to match. But once they traded for Podkolzin, you knew that was not going to happen by any stretch of the imagination. No way it was going to do it. Let's get to our injury report, brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. Now, remember, life shouldn't hurt. So if you got aches, you got pains, you got to get it fixed. The pros, go to Leading Edge. So should you in Leduc, Stewart Park, St. Albert, Spruce Grove, and of course, Edmonton. That is leadingedgephysio.com. As Grant Fedoruk joins us once again. Grant, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I love that you rattled all those locations off and you didn't have to read them.
Hey, buddy, it's not my first day on the job, eh?
Yeah. At least you haven't had to go to every location.
That's true. That's true. You know what? It's one of those things. I've been to Leading Edge. I'm bragging because I haven't been there for a while, so that means I'm not injured. So
no, we don't want to see you.
Yeah, I like it. Exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh God, I got to go there again. That means I'm making pain. So no, but I will say, the last time I was at Leading Edge in St. Albert, I got a massage, just like one of those maintenance massages things. Whew. I have to say, I could get used to that. Right. It wasn't, because usually when you go in there, it's like, oh yeah, your knee's tight. Like you're doing some, adjustment thing. You're spinning your knee one way and it's just like, oh my God. But that one was a little bit more enjoyable, I have to say.
You're making it sound so good for people out there. We often do things that feel okay, but
honestly,
most problems don't get better without a little hard work and usually the physio inflicting some pain.
Yeah. No pain, no gain. Right. Active release, and it never hurts that bad. Except I don't know why, but right above the knee, that seems to be like, if I was ever going to, force someone to want to talk, it's that right in the top shoulder where they do that pressure point, or in your knee. Those seem to be the two where I think people would give up any information right then and there.
Those are pretty good. There's also a great muscle right behind the calf that'll get somebody talking. I mean, I can get your bank card numbers pretty fast from that, but.
Nice. I like it. So, a new season comes, and who knows how long it is before injuries occur. But for athletes, there are common injuries, and I want to talk a little bit about more of the amateur sports, because we have lots of kids are getting back into, there's spring, football at times, you got basketball and volleyball at schools are coming up. Hockey's big. Indoor soccer is a big one. So we got a few texts about indoor soccer, and, it's a little bit more, there's less give on indoor soccer than there is on outdoor soccer. And we already know that can be some injuries in soccer. What is your recommendation on good preventative maintenance for those who play indoor soccer?
Indoor soccer has a host of different issues, being that it's really artificial turf on concrete. And it's not even artificial turf. It's really like carpet. So besides the obvious infections that people can get from the lacerations and scrapes that they get. So number one, first and foremost, every kid should have in their bag some sort of iodine or something that can break up. You can buy these sprays that basically are antibacterial sprays. They're an essential thing to have in your kit if you're a indoor soccer player. Then you got on top of that the mix of a sport that's not really meant to be played with boards, and unfortunately also involves the tangling of feet close to boards. And so I consider indoor soccer to be one of the more dangerous sports out there. So parents, if you're listening to this one, just know that injuries are inevitable in indoor soccer because of the speed at which the ball is moving, the close confines. It's meant to be played on a much bigger field. There are boards which kids typically are not used to playing around. So falling into something on the sidelines that used to just be grass is now a hard surface that they're going into. And then they're landing on this, what is considered turf, but it's really like landing. If you fall down or fall hard enough, you're landing on concrete with a very thin layer of carpet on it at full pace. So those injuries, you asked about prevention. I just scared everybody. There is a lot of things. I would say probably the number one thing is working around, particularly in soccer. Knee injuries are very common. Okay. and particularly with girls more than boys, interestingly enough. But that being said, proprioception, Jason, we've talked about this. It's my favorite line. When you and I get together, I talk about the need for athletes to work at a high level on their ability to perform what most people would consider balance activities. But proprioception is different. It's knowing what your body is doing without having to look at it or even think about it. So basically, you got to train at a level that is much higher than normal in order to prevent injuries, especially on indoor turf when things are happening faster. You're still going to have the issue with twisting of the knee and such. So activities kids can be doing at home, practicing on one foot, tossing a ball to themselves, playing catch with their brothers and sisters, but standing on one foot, closing your eyes and then throwing it. This is a fun one for kids to play together. I recommend a tennis ball, but pull out a baseball mitt or just bare hands and a tennis ball, close your eyes, stand on one foot, and then say, okay, open, and throw the ball. So they have to react while staying on that one foot. Things that really throw them off of being able to think about it, because our vision plays a role. Our vestibular system plays a role and our joints play a role. And we want to take away vision a little bit, because you're not going to stare at your foot or ankle or knee when you're playing these sports. You're looking up, you're making a quick movement, you're dodging something, you're jumping and landing on one foot, or you're turning and stepping onto another. And you got to train at that level. The high-end athletes do it. You see them on Bosu balls, doing exercises like they're working out, standing on, doing squats on Bosu balls. All of those things are to build up strength while throwing at their body perturbations or changes, so that they got to train at a level that's more like what they're going to face when they're playing sport.
So, you know what? Now, why are there more injuries for girls and boys? Is that just the physical makeup of their body? Why is that?
Yeah, there's differences certainly in genetics and the way that our bodies are designed and the way that they are. Neck injuries are higher in girls as well, just because of the makeup of the vertebra and the way that they sit on one another. If you look, girls typically all have a little bit longer neck. The vertebrae are a little bit are different. And so they're more likely, headers with young girls are more likely to cause neck injuries. You'll see it a little bit more. Now, you do, how do I put this? There isn't really a big difference in the amount of collisions that happen either. So you think, okay, boys are really aggressive and they're rambunctious. Watch a girls.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's happening there too.
Oh yeah,
So collisions are as common in girls' sports as they are in men's. And unfortunately, one of the things I'm really a big proponent of is making sport such that boys and girls don't want to leave it at a young age. So preventing injuries, in my opinion, is one of those things that's going to go a long way in keeping people, boys and girls, in sport. And I think we got to pay a little bit more attention to making sure that it's safe for girls to play as well.
Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio joins us. And Grant, hockey season's upon us at all different levels. You know, some kids are playing hockey more year-round now than ever before. Have you noticed, is there a significant increase in hip flexor issues or other things related more to, people come into any of your locations here in the Edmonton area or even Calgary now, where, predominantly you are having more hockey injuries than ever before because kids are playing more, or is that a myth?
Yeah, no, I think that the longer or anything that you do without changing the activity is more likely to lead to repetitive type injuries. That's old science. That's not even new science. Repetitive injuries happen from doing something over and over and over again. So somebody who grabs a shovel every day is more likely to have breakdown of tissues because they're using the same tissues in the same way. So if you play a sport like hockey and you're doing it every day without changing up the activity, certainly you're going to have those repetitive type injuries that are going to come about. And they're different than the injuries that you're going to get from just playing the sport. They're more cumulative injuries, ones that add up. The tennis elbows, sort of a thing that can happen from gripping a hockey stick over and over and over again and practicing snapshots or wrist shots over and over and over, or doing backhands over and over and over. So the more you do one thing all in consecutive all at one time, the more likely it is for you to develop those cumulative injuries. So you threw one at me, which is hip flexors. That's a common cumulative injury, one that adds up over time from doing the same activity over and over. And I've said it, and I'll keep saying it. The more you put your kids in multiple sports, different sports, where they get a chance to cross train, not only is it better for their recovery and for their decreasing the chances of injury, but it's also better for their development. They get an opportunity to develop skills at a higher level and in a different way that cross over. So I the analogy I'd use for all those hockey lovers out there is you see that lacrosse style goal that's scored, where the player picks the puck up on his stick and goes around the net and flicks it in the net. That didn't come out from hockey. That was developed from another sport. Those were players that were playing other sports and saying, hey, I'm going to try this with a hockey stick. That's where that came from. Common sense. So put them in different sports, let them play other things. Don't just, in my opinion, again, I got to be careful, right, Jason? I just see this stuff, and I'm just speaking from the fact that I see these injuries and I see these players all the time. So.
Well, no, there's lots of people. There's lots of scientific studies on it, how it matches with what you're saying. I know we talked earlier about all of the injuries to Evander Kane, and he ended up having 2 different hernias and all those things. And so they said 5 to 6 months because he has hernias, he's got some torn abductors. I get if you have one side, Grant, right? Is this one longer because they went in and did both and like multiple repairs to multiple different areas?
Yeah, and if you remember, Jason, we talked about all the things that go wrong with this sports hernia. Again, not a fan of the term, and the numerous issues that are involved and why they're so complicated, in that it's not usually just one thing. That it's on both sides, no question about it. You're going to get a longer period of recovery. You certainly are dealing with 2 problems. Is it double the time? No, it's not. This recovery from this injury is usually anywhere from 3 to 6 months. He's going to be on the longer end because you're dealing with 2 sides for sure. Yeah. And the interesting thing on this one, Jason, is they won't even improve at the same rate. Even if you had identical surgery on the exact same problem on one side and the other, they'll still recover at different rates. It's just the human body. It just doesn't go the way that you would think. There's nothing by the textbook.
So now that's fascinating because everybody has one side that's predominantly stronger, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and I'm guessing there has to be a challenge in there when you are recovering it, so you try not to get an imbalance as you recover, correct?
Yeah, but even with seeing, like, I'll use knee replacements as an example. We see knee replacements where people have a knee done, and it's not even necessarily the stronger side that recovers faster. It's just the nature of the human body and the way it goes through a healing process. And even though you're one, collection of DNA, you're still, the various body parts are going to recover at different rates for various different reasons. But you are right. I mean, typically, if somebody's got one side, they're gonna be more favoring that side. They're gonna favor the weaker side. However, that being said, you do not want to develop imbalances, even on the same side. So muscle imbalances can happen between the quadriceps and hamstring on the same side, for instance. Right. Yeah. So you need a good. These guys, I mean, they've got the top trainers, they've got the top physios. They're going to be going through various stages of healing. Right now, it's just getting through the initial stage of inflammation and fibroplasia, which is the first stage of healing. Can take up to 3 months alone for that to happen.
Grant, great stuff as always, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day.
My pleasure, Jason, as always. Hope you stay out of leading edge clinics.
You betcha, buddy. Not for that massage, though, I'll tell you that. We're getting back in there right away. I love it. Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. That is Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. Honestly, I've had, just so you get some tightness, you get back into training, you're biking, whatever, your knee's tight. And honestly, it always works. But that was the first time I went in just for like one of those massages they recommend every, now you're training and I don't have any injuries. It's great, but just a little maintenance. Oh, it was unbelievable. My problem is I always fall asleep. Always. Just get relaxed out. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where their rates never change. No overtime charges. If all of a sudden furnace conks out overnight on the weekend, call them. No overtime charges. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
After being claimed by the Vegas Golden Knights on Monday, Raffle Lavoie has been waived by those same Knights. Chris Streeter, Mackenzie Entwistle, and Mark Friedman also placed on waivers. The Seattle Kraken have named Jordan Eberle as their second captain in franchise history, first since Mark Giordano in their inaugural season. Eberle's won the last 3 seasons for the Kraken. Speaking of those Kraken, they're in action right now, scoreless against the Blues with 3 minutes remaining in the first period. Later today, the Bruins in Florida and the Utah Hockey Club will host Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. Jarius Jackson says Trey Ford will start this weekend when the team takes on the Stampeders in Calgary. Jared Deggy will get some snaps as well. Looks like McLeod Bethel-Thompson will not dress. Major League Baseball playoffs today. We're about 5 minutes away from getting going out at Citi Field in Queens as the Mets host the Phillies. That series tied at 1 game apiece. Then tonight, just after 7, Padres and Dodgers meeting in San Diego. That series also tied at a game each in the NBA's preseason. You do have the Pistons, Suns, Bulls, Cavs, Hornets, Heat, and the Nets taking on the Clippers. From the NFL, after their 2-3 start, the New York Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh, naming defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich as their interim head coach. Saleh had a record of 20-36 since joining the organization in 2021, and rookie Drake May is starting as the new New England Patriots starting quarterback. That report comes from ESPN's Adam Schefter. May was the 3rd overall pick in the 2024 draft, replacing veteran Jacoby Brissett. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host, former NHLer Terry Ryan, and Edmonton Oilers general manager Stan Bowman. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Need a truck? Want a great deal on a truck? Get into Wolf GMC Buick. It's GMC's Canada-wide clearance. Take advantage of 0% financing on Sierra half-tons. Oh, and guess what? GMC employee pricing is back on all in-stock 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons. That means thousands of dollars in savings on GMC Sierra 3/4 ton and 1 ton. Also thousands off the industry-leading SUV, the GMC Yukon. Get to Wolf GMC Buick now and drive away with money off and a smile on. Just off the Anthony Henday.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Mr. Rooter meets a ghost. 1 plunge, 2, and 3. A toilet clogged with a ghost? Man, I love plumbing. You're free now.
I will never find peace. The clog is fixed, yes, but I have never trusted the sump pump.
No problemo. We can fix that. Now go to the light, you little scamp.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
To resolve your unfinished plumbing business, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Tuesday afternoon. The NHL North American season is officially underway as the Kraken with their new captain, Jordan Eberle. Well, at least he's the captain today, but he's wearing the C as they are hosting Dylan Holloway, Philip Broberg, and the St. Louis Blues. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game at PlayAlberta.ca. You can do season-long projections, if you like. Oilers favor to win their division. Actually, favor to win the Stanley Cup. Also, you can get your tickets $55 million tonight in Lotto Max plus 4 Max Millions at PlayAlberta.ca. I'm Jason Gregor. He is Connor Halley. As always, you can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our inbox. Let's bring in to the show. He was a first-round selection of the Montreal Canadiens in 1995, a two-time author. Also, just finished filming season 4 of Shoresy, where he stars as Hitch, the pride of Newfoundland. Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right. It's nice to be back. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Hey, before we get going, I just want to extend condolences to you and all your friends out there. Unfortunately, for CR, I know he was a guy who was a really close friend of yours, fellow singer, and unfortunately gone a little too soon.
Yeah, he was. For my tales today, I'm going to tell you a little story about me and CR. We go way back, but he's from. We're from the same hometown, and I've known him. A lot of people think because he's a musician, I'm downtown and we hang out a lot. That's just like as adults. But Chris came on my radar when he was a real young kid. He really looked up to me. He's a hockey player, right? Like he played junior and senior hockey and a real good skater. And always was handy with a guitar, but in his early 20s, he started playing downtown and started writing his own. When I say play downtown in Newfoundland, it's a big thing. Like every night there's live music. George Street's alive, and there are, a half dozen to a dozen musicians that are down there pretty much every night, earning their keep. And I shouldn't say even night, like during the day, so there's lots of musicians. Just he's part of the furniture down there. But, it was just we played a lot of hockey together. He would have been at my skate today, Tuesday at 11. We all head out there, and it's tough because Chris, I know I'm speaking now, and if there's any Newfoundlanders out there listening, of which I know there's lots in Alberta alone, they'll probably know who I'm talking about. He seemed to be everywhere, omnipresent, and the guy, obviously everybody has, good days and bad days, but he was always met you with a smile and real positive, and just a real unfortunate thing. So, the hockey and music are two of my favorite things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's any secret. And CR and I had a real close relationship that way for a long time. He would come over here and listen to music. I'd introduce him to some new stuff. He's written some songs in front of me. This guy was up for a few ECMAs. Like he started as just playing the odd bar wherever he could get a gig, but he's got some real good music out there. I encourage you to check it out. My favorite would be Prairie Girl, because I was there when it came out, and he did the video and everything, and it kind of signified to us his transition into being a permanent musician, which was awesome. And he's a veteran of many charitable causes. If you're downtown, you'd likely see him at Greensleeves or Shamrock City, or just a big presence. A lot of people are affected by this, and unfortunately gone too soon, and another one gone too soon. But thank you very much for the condolences, and we're working real hard over here. I'm not sure if you've heard of an Irish wake, which it's tough when a tragedy happens, but we're going to go through the process of the wake and the funeral and everything. But me and a few friends are his mother would have planned it, and she's passed a few years ago. So we're planning something, maybe, it's definitely going to be an Irish wake of sorts, and we're just going to celebrate his life in the best way we can. But I think everybody needs a few days to absorb all this. So if you're listening and you're interested, just follow my Instagram. We're going to do it likely this weekend, and likely Greensleeves. And until then, there's all kinds of things. Thursday night, I know Shamrock City are doing something. Wednesday night, I think O'Reilly's. Anyway, just follow them if you're out there and you're interested and you're going to be a Newfoundlander and you want to follow online. Just follow my Instagram, Terry Ryan 2020, and I'll list details as they come.
TR, it's an interesting time in the NHL. Guys get put on waivers. There's kind of 24 hours. You're wondering, am I going to get claimed? Am I not going to get claimed? Some guys get claimed, and then there's Raphael Lavoie who got claimed, but Vegas actually put in 2 claims. They got both of them, him and Cole Schmidt, and they didn't want both because just for roster numbers. So they put Lavoie back on waivers today, and now I'll have to wait another 24 hours to see if one of the teams above Vegas in the standings claims him, or does Edmonton reclaim him? Then they can send him to the minors if they're the only team who reclaims him. And that's quite the emotional journey. I think you're a guy like Raphael Lavoie. You've been in the Edmonton organization since you were drafted 5 years ago, and you believe in yourself. You want to get a chance there, and it just hasn't worked out. He got injured at the worst possible time in camp this season. I'm not sure it would have mattered anyway. But if you're the Oilers, it's like you'd reclaim him just for depth more than anything else, right? Because they don't have a ton of NHL ready depth on the right side. I think they're going to put a claim back in, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I would think. I didn't see much of camp. I've been trying to read and keep up on it, and he seems like a decent kid with a decent attitude. Kid probably is a stretch at this point, but he's got a good attitude. What I did see, he scored a couple of goals, pretty nice goals in camp. In Edmonton, it really is a numbers game if you're a talented forward, but I get no reason not to. And not only because the guy's a pretty good player, but you know what you're getting. I think there's something to that, right? They know what they're getting, and they also know that he's pretty much, I'm not saying, what's the word? He's done nothing wrong. It really is a numbers game. And if he's got a good attitude and they know he's got talent and he hasn't really fallen in their eyes, it's just that it's tough to get over that level of mediocrity. But, if you want to make the Oilers line up now, you got to he would have had to have an exceptional camp, not get injured. And I would think you can only gain by taking back an asset that you know all about, and that there's more upside than downside. So that's just my opinion. Maybe some others would see it the other way, but if it's me and I'm an NHL GM, which I'm not, I jump at the opportunity to bring him back.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I just look at the at the depth factor and say, okay, you know what, I want him in there for sure. Just because, they're one injury away from needing a guy like that. So, cost you nothing to bring him back in, and away you go. You look at a lot of these teams. We've seen the Patrick Laine injury. Obviously, I think that impacts Montreal a little bit. I know they're close to you. Of course, you're drafted by them. What's your expectations for Lane Hudson? I know Matheson started on the first unit power play, and he was pretty good on their power play last year. And, people are like, wow, Lane Hudson should be there. And I get the pecking order, but you know what? He's a pretty dynamic defenseman, but he's also really small. What do you make of Lane Hudson, and what do you think is going to be in the NHL?
Yeah, like the only thing that really makes me a bit hesitant on his bright future is his size. But I did watch a lot of their camp, just more available. And he gives me no reason to be hesitant. I just, the NHL regular season and then playoffs is a big thing. What are my expectations? I think he'll be second power play, regular shift, and go from there. He's dynamic is one thing, but the guy's making some plays that are just next level. Like he looks like Quinn Hughes out there at times. So they're in a great position for that too. Now that Laine's gone, I know fans are starting to get antsy in Montreal, but really, what is the expectation? I think they're putting themselves into a decent position, and people might expect them to make the playoffs this year. I think they're still here. I think next year for sure, but why not try? Like, they would have needed, I think, Laine to have a big year, like a surprise of some sort. And Laine still might, when he comes back. I mean, if they can just hold solid ground, he's going to be back in 2 or 3 months. And Laine and Hudson, to me, are the biggest X factors in that they might surprise you. What if Laine did get 40 goals? We know he's capable of it. He did it when he was a teenager. What if Hudson, what if we don't have to doubt his size? Maybe just, lots of players come in and we have that same question, RIP Johnny Gaudreau, even though he's a forward, but you know what I'm saying. So I just don't think they have much to lose. And the Habs fans, look, did you see when Laine had the puck a couple of times in exhibition? They all stood up, like they're aware of this and they want to see greatness and they love surprises. And I think they're all too willing to accept this guy. All he's got to do is go out there and be consistent, not only in a way of making great plays, but he's also got to do a job defensively, because they're not going to be a great team. Like I said, they're on the precipice, but they're going to have a lot of chances against, and he's going to have to really prove that. It's tough to come in and do it with a mediocre team, but you never really know. And at this point, after camp, at the beginning of camp, I would have doubted his potential, but right now I'm thinking that he's going to pull through and be the exception to the rule.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. When we return, Stan Bowman, the GM of the Oilers, next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here for Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Often when I meet people at a party or I'm hanging out at my favorite restaurants, I'll introduce myself and they'll say, "Oh, you're Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. What can I do about this sore knee? It's been bugging me for months." First, I was thinking, when I'm out like this, I should just tweet my location so people know where to come for a consultation. But then I thought, I'm spending all this money on advertising Leading Edge. Maybe you could come by one of our clinics. That's where we have the technology and really smart physiotherapists who can give you all the advice and treatment you need. Have your people call my people. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an HVAC technician. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to install furnaces. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well,
okay. Call Legacy, call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. It's very simple. Have a lot of fun at PlayAlberta.ca. As it's time now for the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton.com, where stop in the all-new 2025 XC90s and XC plug-in hybrids are now in stock. I have a hybrid plug-in. It's unbelievable. Just plug it in overnight, barely gassing up. Fantastic and super quiet, by the way. True story. First day I got it, it was when I got it, it was running. So I came home, shut it off. The next morning, I go to start my vehicle. It's like, what the hell is going on? It's not working. I had to call them. They're like, no, turn the little key on the side. I did, but it doesn't make any noise. I didn't even know it was on. What an idiot. Oh, it's funny. Good laugh. But that's how quiet it is. Honestly, I couldn't tell it was on. We are joined now by a gentleman in his first season as the GM of the Edmonton Oilers as they set to drop the puck on their 45th season tomorrow. Stan Bowman joins us. Stan, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. It's kind of been a whirlwind here. Lots going on with salary cap and Bill Scott and your capologist guys. They earn their keep here. You monitor all the numbers. Raphael Lavoie, you lost him on waivers yesterday, but Vegas put him back on waivers today. I know the rule is if you put a claim and no one else does, you can send him to the minors. Are you expecting to put a claim in? How does that work?
Yeah, we're going to talk to our group about it. Obviously, we weren't looking to lose him. We were just trying to get him down to Bakersfield. So we'll make that final decision by tomorrow. But yeah, I think he's someone that, obviously we've invested a lot of time with. And, I thought he had a good camp. He did a lot of good things. It's sometimes a numbers game. So that's something we have till tomorrow to decide. But obviously, if we do get the opportunity to get him back, I think there'd be some value in that for us.
So you look at your overall lineup and the salary cap and everything. You bring up Savoy and Wright so you can maximize the LTIR space and everything from there. Realistically, Stan, when you just look at from an injury perspective, are you expecting to carry more than 12 forwards for an extended period of time here, or do you plan on going with 12 to start?
I think we'll go with 12 to start. I mean, obviously, if we have injuries, then or if we determine that players aren't playing where we need them to, then it's pretty simple to just bring somebody up. So, right now, I'm comfortable with just having 12 and 7 to start the season, and a lot changes over the course of a day or a week or a month. So there's two sides to having extra players around. Certainly, it's beneficial if you want to make a last minute decision to switch a player out. But the other side of it is you're paying somebody and it's counting against your cap. And we've been consistent, since the summer that we want to be able to accrue some cap space to give ourselves most flexibility. So I think it's wise to have an extra player, and that's what we're going to have on defense. So if something last minute changes, a guy gets sick or hurt, you can certainly always dress 11 and 7. But if that happens, then you have the ability to bring somebody up. So I don't know that we're going to have a lot of extra bodies around this year. Like I said, we want to try to accrue that cap space.
Mr. Bowman, the exhibition to me is a funny time of year because you got so many young guys coming in trying to make their stamp. Some guys that have been there for a little bit, so they're veterans, but still they're getting their feet wet in the NHL. And it's important for guys like that. For veterans, I'm always looking and I cringe when they get injured. Do you think the exhibition season is too long, or is it just fine the way it is?
It's a great question. I don't know if I have the perfect answer. I think, you'd love to be able to have all of your top players play and be ready for the season. But, sometimes you need some games to get your game in order. Some of the veteran players probably don't need a lot of games. So I think what you're left with then is trying to fill your rosters out, to give young players an opportunity to show you, where they are. Like, each year is a little bit different. Where we are right now, we didn't really have a lot of spots up for grabs. So I know that certain seasons it's different, where you need to look at, you might have 3 or 4 spots you're trying to decide between 7 guys. So those games are probably more relevant in those types of scenarios. I think for where we were, it's probably, not necessary to play a lot of games, but it's a balancing act. So I don't have the perfect solution for it. I think you're trying to hope that you don't suffer injuries. And I guess I would say that's probably the best outcome this year for our team, is we got through the exhibition season healthy. And now everyone turns the page and pretty excited to get going with the games that really matter.
Every year, certain players come in with certain expectations, and it can be an emotional roller coaster, as we all know, at any position within an organization. A guy like Lavoie, like we talked about, has to go through that waiver period and, leaving and coming back and changing teams, and all of that can be a whirlwind, and sometimes it's out of the player's control. A guy like Josh Brown came in with a 3-year deal, a lot of expectations. Now he has to go down. What would his mindset be, and is there a chance we'll see him back in Edmonton?
Well, of course there is. Yeah, I think basically we just need Josh to get his game where we know it can get to. I think sometimes people can make too big of a deal of this, which is for a short period of time here. I don't think he played his best. Like, wasn't his best game. We know he's got more. So at this moment in time, this was the right decision. We wanted to reward the players that played the best, but by no means is he, forgotten about. I think that's the reason you have a team in the American League, is for players to get the opportunity to gain their confidence, get their game back to where we need it to be. So it's a long season. We're going to use a lot of players throughout the year. And I think the goal for Josh is to just get back and get his game to the level we know it can get to. So, obviously it's disappointing for him and for us, but I also don't think it's the end of the world. This is where we are right now, and it's kind of like a snapshot in time. It's not a forever decision. Now we want to see how our team here starts, and whether we're healthy or not, and how players play and how he plays down there. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, and we're not trying to predict the future. We're just, kind of taking it day by day.
Stan Bowman joins us, general manager of the Edmonton Oilers. And Stan, you look at your team and what you built, and you came in, and a lot of the pieces were constructed, right? Obviously, you had the offer sheet to deal with, and then Leon Draisaitl extension, which is a pretty big deal to get done. When you look at the overall makeup of your team, and you've been on teams in this exact situation. When you were in Chicago, you were there basically right in their Stanley Cup window, and I think that's where the Oilers are in right now. And if you have McDavid and Draisaitl long term, it's probably going to be a pretty big window. But how do you feel about like the overall makeup of the team? Are you big enough? Do you feel you're physical enough? Or are there just certain things that, little pieces that you expect to add and change either over the course of this year or over the course of the next 24 months?
Well, I guess the simple answer would be we will kind of have to see how things unfold here. I mean, I would say a general comment for all teams is everybody loves their team in September and October. And over the summertime, you're planning, you have ideas of which combinations are going to be good together. And then game one of the season hits, and all of a sudden things change, or, players play better than they expect, or players don't play as well, or combinations that you thought would be good, they don't always work out. So, coming into the season, I think we certainly like the look of our team on paper. We've got a lot of talented players, a lot of guys coming back that were here and that performed very well last year. But I've been pretty consistent trying to say that we need to look ahead to this season and not look backwards at what was or what worked or what didn't work. This is a new group, and I think we want to forge a new path together. So as we stand right now, I don't know what exactly our needs will be, but that's going to unfold over the coming weeks, where we'll see how the guys perform, and we'll see what our record looks like, and areas that seem to be strengths or areas that need some work. But I think on paper, we've got a lot of really good elements here. But you have to get out there and play, and that's going to be what we use as our guideline on what moves we need to make in season.
It is something that always changes, an injury here or there, or somebody plays better than you think, or some guys struggle. Obviously, there's no set pattern, Stan, but when constructing a Stanley Cup contending team, which you have, you need different parts. I don't think there's any question. When do you know is the right time to pull the trigger to get a part that you feel you're missing?
I guess a probably simple answer would be it comes from some experience and going through. I mean, each team, each season is going to go through some times when they struggle, and you have to have gone through that enough, both as a player or a coach, as a manager, to know, when something is really concerning or something that's going to even itself out. So I would say that probably comes more from experience. So when there's not really one way to win. I think, if you're trying to say there's a blueprint to what you need in order to be successful in 2024, I don't know if there is one way. Some teams have different styles that work for them. And, you got to play to your strengths. I mean, We've got talented offensive players on our team, and I think that's certainly a strength of our group, is watching creative players be able to make plays. And the other side of that is having players that can, in a team that can, manage the game and defend well, so that you're not chasing games. So I think we have to just see what shape our season takes. But there's no doubt about it. We've got a team that should be able to score some goals, whether it's even strength or on the power play. I think special teams and goaltending are always important. I think those two elements are the ones that really, can keep your team in a game. Like, even if you don't have your A game as a team, but if you have really strong special teams and you're solid goaltending, you're going to be in every game, and then you're going to hopefully be able to find your way at 5-on-5. But 5-on-5 play is very important. I mean, whatever it is, 80 to 85% of the game is even strength. So I think it's difficult to be a successful team if you aren't a good 5-on-5 team. So I think that's kind of our base, which is to be a team that we can manage the game well and not playing just high octane offense all the time. You want to be a team that can certainly score in transition, but also be a team that can defend and also score when you're not in transition. So I guess those are some general attributes that the good teams tend to have, and we want to have those attributes on our team this year.
Stan Bowman joins us, GM of the Edmonton Oilers. Stan, you announced Evander Kane is going on LTIR. Matt Savoy, Cameron Wright have been assigned to Bakersfield, and Travis Dermott signs a 1-year, 2-way contract, $775,000 AAV. What was it you guys liked about Dermott that allowed him to go from a PTO to a deal?
Yeah, well, we obviously watched Travis closely, knowing he was here on a tryout, and I paid close attention to him. And I felt, as the camp went on and the games got, more competitive and more NHL rosters, I thought he was able to elevate his performance. I think the thing I liked about him was he's a pretty stable player. He's not maybe the most flashy player, but I felt he had a really good understanding of how to simplify the game. And, first and foremost, as a defenseman, you want to be able to defend and to make sure that, you're not somebody that's getting out of position or playing a high risk game. And I think Travis did a good job of that. We saw his versatility. He was able to play some on the right defense in camp, as well as his natural position on left. So I think for our team, having both of those as options is appealing to us. He's got a lot of experience, and he's been an NHL player for a few hundred games, so I think he knows how to play in the league. And overall, I just liked his. I guess I could say he's a simple player that we think can be a stabilizing force wherever he's used, whether it's left side or right side.
TR?
Oh, I was just going to ask about Cameron Wright. Can you tell us a little bit about a rather, I don't want to say unknown, but can you tell us a little bit about the new addition to the club?
Yeah, actually, I noticed him in camp. I thought he had a really good, someone that I really didn't have many expectations of. He had a good camp for us. So I think part of the decision was cap related to try to give us the best sort of opening season capture. But he also earned the contract based on his performance. Like, he had been with our organization on an American League contract, but based on the way he showed us in camp, he's someone that, like, I wasn't looking out for him, but I noticed him in many of the, whether it's practices or games he played. Like, he's got a little bit of everything to his game, and we expect him to be a strong player for us in Bakersfield and kind of see where it goes from there.
Stan, if you look at your team now, and Chris Knobach had an interesting comment the other day. He goes, I think our guys are maybe focused a little bit, on last year's cup and then also moving ahead. And that's kind of normal. I think, a team gets as close as possible without winning. You think about it for a moment. You've been with teams that have won a cup, and I'm sure there's that human nature to still be excited about it. I don't know how does a team get over that? Is it simple as, okay, once the puck drops, now it's easier to do? Like, is it kind of normal to expect that maybe there was a little bit of last year and this year's Stanley Cup focus for a team that came so close?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, they get a lot of questions about last year, right? So they're sort of always brought back to that when they're asked questions like that. But I can, just from talking to the guys here, I know, like, our focus is we're looking forward, but certainly we get a lot of questions on last year and coming so close. And, it was a great season, but a heartbreak of an ending. So I guess it's understandable that people want to talk about that. But I really, if you were to talk to our guys, everyone's focused on, tomorrow night and getting this season going. And I think once the season's underway, like, you don't talk about the previous season, whether it was a great season or not. This is what's in front of us, is the game tomorrow night. And that leads you into, of course, I think we're going to be challenged each night. We're going to be a team that other teams mark on their calendar, knowing that, they're going to be trying to measure themselves against the Oilers. And that's the way it is. Same thing with Florida. I think, the Stanley Cup finalist teams are the ones that they don't usually get many bad performances by their opponents. I think opponents get up to play against those top teams because they want to sort of show that they can hang with them. And so you got to be ready from game one. It doesn't matter who you're playing against, whether you're, playing a team that's lower in the standings or doesn't appear to be as strong on paper. They're going to bring their best effort against the Oilers this year. So I think that's something we're aware of. Like, we're not going to be caught off guard by that. I think we know going in that teams are going to be, gunning for us, and we have to really be ready. So I think that's good, though. It brings out the best, and we know that there's no easy games. And let's focus on bringing our best performance, because we know that our opponent is going to do the same.
And lastly, Noah Philp did not play last season. And 2 years ago had a really strong second half, and Bakersfield and the organization at that point was thinking, hey, maybe this guy can come in and compete. And then he needed a year off. He comes back in, Stan, and he looked pretty good for, and his time in the American League. Is it more just about, okay, I look good in preseason, but it's preseason, and we'd rather have him just, play some real games in the American League and then come up? Is that kind of how you see from Philp? And did he surprise you at all at how well he played?
Yes, he was excellent in all of camp. I was very surprised, and not only because I really didn't know much about him. Like he's a guy, it's unusual for a player to take a year off and then come back and to be as impressive. And, he's also a player that didn't have like an NHL pedigree already. So he's a guy that's working his way up, and, he takes a year off. So I didn't have expectations. I kind of wanted to see what he was like as a player and get to know him. He's a fantastic kid, first of all. Like, I think he's the kind of guy you really cheer for because he's got such a upbeat attitude. He's the kind of guy you like to have around because he brings energy to the room. He doesn't drain it from the room. So as far as, he was excellent in camp. I was very happy with his performance, and he could certainly be playing tomorrow night. It's not that we don't think he can. I think the biggest thing is I don't want him to be in Edmonton and be a scratch. And I think at least to start the year, we like the 12 forwards that we have here, and we think they give us a really good chance to be successful. But if that changes either through injury or if players aren't playing to the level we need them to, we have no concern about bringing Noah back and putting him right in the lineup. So I think it's just giving him a chance that he needs to play. And if he's going to be playing in Edmonton, that's great. But if he's not going to be playing here, we don't want him watching. We want him to be playing, a lot of minutes in Bakersfield. And I think he's certainly going to play for us this year. I don't know whether it's really soon or down the road, but I'm very optimistic that he's going to be a factor for us.
Stan, great for your time. As always, we appreciate it. Enjoy your first season as a GM with the Edmonton Oilers, officially starting tomorrow.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get going.
There you go. That is Stan Bowman, GM for the Oilers, as they get set to take on the Winnipeg Jets. First of 4-game homestand. Jets, and then the Blackhawks, Flames, and Flyers. And how about this for the opening game? You guys like to do the little auction, so we'll do one here. We'll do 6 people at 100 bones. You want to make a donation for $100, then you get 1 out of 6 chance to get a pair of seats. Lower bowl, Oilers attack twice tomorrow night. Text in your name, and then we can send you where to make the donation. So text in your name with $100. That'll say you're in. First 6, and you are in at 833-401-1440.
He is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You've probably heard the term supply and demand. Something is needed and someone supplies it. We're GS Construction, and we're in the supply and demand business with you. Edmonton and the surrounding area continue to grow. Infrastructure has to be continually replaced and upgraded to keep up with demand. You see it with new buildings and new roads, but what about below ground, where all sorts of pipes bring you water and take wastewater away? That's where we come in. For more on what we do, go to gsconstruction.ca.
This is Nuge's Nuggets, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. What nugget of heating and cooling advice does Nuge have today?
You can save a lot of money by bundling your new furnace and AC with Legacy. It's kind of like saving money on an endorsement by bundling me, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, with someone like, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Thanks for suggesting me, Nuge. Get no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new AC and furnace from Legacy Heating and Cooling. Proud sponsor of Nuge's Nuggets.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's #1.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Harris Wiener. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhawk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wilhawk beef jerky today, because you don't win friends with salad.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. If you missed it, former Edmonton Oiler Jordan Eberle was officially named the second captain in Seattle Kraken history today, when a little bit of a surprise for their fans and others, as the number 7 Eberle had the C stitched on his jersey. So good for him. Good guy, being in the NHL quite a while. It's always a thrill, I would think, to wear a C. TR, you ever captain?
I liked being assistant captain. Yeah, but I was voted it in Fredericton my second year when I got sent down. And that night I fought Frank Bialowas. Long story, but I did it as a team,
Frank the Animal.
I didn't want to fight Frank the Animal, man.
Oh, why would you?
Yeah, I think Blue Ann was out, or there was just, we didn't have we had some tough players, Jerry Fleming, Dave Morissette, Sylvain Blouin, I would think heavyweights. Then we had guys like me and Darcy Harris, Aaron Asham, Gordy Dwyer, that were just fighting all those guys, but I wouldn't ever put us in those categories. But none of the boys were playing. I remember it was early on, and I just said, I'm going to get it out of the way. And I went out. Again, the boys had just voted me captain. So it was part of my motivation, like I'm just going to be there for the boys. And, he in warm up, he stood on the red line and didn't have tape on either end of his stick. He didn't shoot one puck. He just stared into our end. Yeah. Now there was a little side thing with me and him, but that's here nor there. He was just looking for somebody to fight. I don't think me specifically mattered to him at all, but this happened anyway. After the game, I don't remember, but the next game I came back and Therrien had it stripped. I was wearing the A, but not the C. And whatever, I don't remember his reasoning. He just said, the players might vote you captain, but I don't think you're captain. Fair enough, whatever. I didn't care. I don't think you need to wear a letter to be a teammate. The boys knew that. And I often thought, hey, if you're the captain in the minors, there's less of a chance you're getting up. You don't really want that letter in the minors. But anyway, yeah, just a foolish mindset that I had at the time. But anyway, and there's a couple of times in Tri-Cities, Chad Cabana would get hurt or whatever, and I've worn the C, a few times in senior. Team Canada, same thing. Like with ball hockey, I just preferred being the A. I think there's a level of responsibility. You can be more loosey-goosey, and that's my style, right? That's my style. I can be honest with you and saying I take pride in being a leader, and I always loved to wear that A, but I don't think I'm a fantastic captain. I think I'm a little bit too loosey-goosey, and my role is to be a liaison, I think, between the players, the coaches, and the captain. And there are people I fully believe that they might be great leaders, but they're just not meant to be the captain. And I don't think I needed to absolutely lead that ship in every way, but I was glad to be part of it.
And I think that's fair assessment. And I think it's one where if the guys vote you, it's great. And probably pretty terrible of a coach to say, well, I don't think you're the captain. Like, what an idiot thing to say. Like, I don't really understand why a coach, hey, we're going to let the players vote. But if I don't like it, I'm going to make sure I tell everybody. Like, what an idiot.
It was his way of it was always like that. It's why he sat me out after celebrating a goal. It's why he did the same to PK Subban. And now that we're years later, I don't feel bad saying it because I think people realize now that was Michel Therrien's tactic. But at the time, honestly, that was my second year. And I wanted out so bad because of only him.
Yeah.
Right? Like I often say about Montreal and, oh, you mustn't have liked it there. No, I loved it there. Trust me. It's part of the reason it was I wanted out because every day was heartbreak. I was going, I'm never going to get to play for my favorite team with this guy in the middle, ever, right? It's just not going to happen. And he would go out of his way at times. Like one game I told you guys, one of my first games, man, I was so nervous. It was early in the American League, and I'm like, okay, because at 19, I made the Habs. I only played 4 games, but I was there till the trade deadline because they had me practicing with them. So part of me thought I was going to walk, and they didn't make the playoffs. So part of me thought I was going to go in. If I have a good camp, I'm going to make the NHL. When I went down, it was a lot of Michel Therrien right away. And he just, so like my 8th game, I remember I had like a goal and 2 assists, and I was so pumped. He phoned my parents in front of me in the dressing room. Pulled me into his office, which was right off the room, the old Aiken Center in Freddie, and called them in front of me and said, Terry has arrived. He's good now. We'll be good. And I know that things can happen, but there was no space in between for him to change his mind. Like the next game was, say, the Saturday. This was like the Friday, and that the next game was Saturday. So I didn't piss him off in between, and he didn't play me till 30 seconds left in the game, and he told me to go fight Jeff Ware. That's what happened after that. That's just one story. You can imagine why I wanted out. To get me out of here. Like, I don't want anything to do with it. I know you're playing mind games, and I know that you're trying to break down a tough guy. But I was like, I'm not mentally tough like this. I thought I was, but every coach till then, I just played by the rules and, bent them a little bit, but I was never disrespectful. My Western League coaches, Bob Laux, Rick Carrier being 2, were great, and they could see that, I was like an assistant captain. I was the guy they'd give money to and say, look, stay out an extra hour, let the guys know, and we'll buy the meal, whatever, curfew is extended tonight, whatever it was. I was usually that guy. And Michel didn't respect me at all or anybody else. And there's one thing to respect, but he just treated us like garbage. And that's why I wanted out of the Montreal Canadiens, and it broke my heart.
Yeah. And that's disappointing. There's lots of more stories about coaches like that. I think times have changed a bit, but not completely. There's still a few idiot coaches at any level. I see it all the time. I still see it in the ones that irked me the most, to be honest, are in minor hockey. To be honest, when I see how some coaches interact with kids and yelling at U11 kids, like, give me a break, right? You're a bully. And sadly, I find some of the worst minor hockey league coaches are the most gutless people themselves. They never played tough. They weren't tough, but they can bully and yell 11-year-old kids. Trust me, that's probably my biggest pet peeve in sports. And then associations will warn the coach, but then give him a job the next year. I'm like, what? What are you doing? Like, are you that desperate for this guy? Like, he's not even that good of a coach. Like, it's U11. So yeah, it is stunning that it still happens. But it happens in all sports. It doesn't matter. There's always somebody's able to pull the wool over the eyes of other people. It just happens.
Because some people, I think that's their mindset, right? Like, like that's what they truly believe will give them and the player the most success, which I totally disagree with. And even there, I remember at the end of my second year, maybe it was the end of my first year, but I remember talking to him because there was times that Michelle was like, the whole thing was tactic, right? Like if I was just to talk to him not about hockey, we were very similar. The things he was passionate about, he was really passionate. He loved to talk about. If we found a common denominator, we would talk for a while. I remember him calling me up to the front of the bus, and there was an article in the Rolling Stone or something about the Beatles, and you like the Beatles? And he sat down. He tried to be like nice with me. I'm going, are you serious? You just treated me like an animal. Like it was just weird. It was a weird thing. And then I remember at the end of my first year, it was because I was rookie of the year. Like I don't know. I'm guessing. Well, I do know they drafted me to be a power forward that could chip in. I remember that. I remember Jacques Demers saying you're going to be ideally third line, second power play, but we need someone like you, and you're going to drop the gloves a little bit. And then when I went back, I remember after they drafted Asham, they really planned on making me, Darcy Tucker, and Aaron Asham a line, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that being talked about a lot. That's why I played with Aaron my whole second year. Tux made the team, and I got traded to Tampa, and I was with Aaron in the minors. But anyway, at the end of that year, I had 21 goals and 34 fights in the American League. I was rookie of the year. Like, I don't know. So, and I remember him saying that. Yeah, you got your result, didn't you? You got your result. Look at what I did for you. And I'm going, wow, if this is the way that I need success, like that's another reason. Just, okay. So what you're saying is that you believe that the way you treated me was good and it benefited me. And this isn't going to change if I stay here. You're going to treat me like the scum on the bottom of your shoe and hope that my statistics, who cares about his mind and his mental stability? We're just going to get some statistics and fights out of him. And I'm going, do I want to go out? I do it for my teammates, but do I want to keep fighting Frank Bialowas for you? You know what I mean? Like, it was just a lot going on, but that's the gist of it. So again, he believed that worked. Like, he said it proudly to me, right? Like, that's the other thing. Like, I'm talking to a person, he really thought that it worked, and he did me a good thing. So, really is in some people's mindset, and in a twisted way, that guy thought that he was doing me a favor by treating me like that.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like they convince themselves that they're helping. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Terry Ryan, of course, always along the rides here on Tuesday afternoons. We have Andy Petrillo, Jason Strudwick coming up. But first, let's get to the con man, Sports 14. Oh, also, we have 2 spots left if you want to get in. $100 donation and gets you in a 1 in 6 chance to win a pair of seats to tomorrow's home opener. Going to be a very special game tomorrow night for Oilers fans. Florida's lifting their banner tonight, in case you're wondering. And you can get to the game. Oilers attack twice, lower bowl, 833-401-1440. Just text your name and put $100 so we know that you're in, and we'll send you the link to where you can donate. Here's the comment. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tires. Big deals are happening right now at Fountain Tire. You can save up to 25% off of Goodyear, Cooper, and Dunlop tires, and get a bonus of $50 off of a service of $150 or more until October 19th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
After being claimed by the Vegas Golden Knights on Monday, Rafael Lavoie has been waived by those Golden Knights. Chris Streeter, Mackenzie Antwistle, and Mark Friedman also placed on waivers. The Seattle Kraken have named Jordan Eberle second captain of franchise history, the first since Mark Giordano in the inaugural season. After just about 2 periods of play, Kraken leading the St. Louis Blues 2-0. Later today, Panthers host the Bruins, and you got the Blackhawks heading to Salt Lake City to take on the Hockey Club. Puck drop just after 8 o'clock. Jarius Jackson says Trey Ford will get the start this week when they take on the Stampeders in Calgary. Jarek Diggy might get some reps as well. McCall Bethel Thompson likely not going to dress. After starting their season with a 2-3 record, New York Jets making a change at head coach, firing Robert Saleh. Jeffrey Albrecht, their defensive coordinator, will take over head coach duties on an interim basis. Major League Baseball, top of the fourth. In Game 3 of the NLDS between the Mets and the Phillies, New York leading 1-0. Later tonight, you got the Dodgers in San Diego to take on the Padres. First pitch, 7:08. That series tied at a game apiece. And in the association, the preseason, you got the Heat, Hornets, Cavs, Bulls. Suns taking on the Pistons. Hawks host the Pacers, and the Nets take on the Clippers. WNBA playoffs, it's Game 5 between the Lynx and the Suns. Tip off 6 o'clock. Winner of this one advancing to the final to take on New York on Thursday. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Andy Petrillo of One Soccer and Amazon Hockey, as well as Jason Strudwick, former NHLer, plus another edition of 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Ready to tackle your toughest tasks? Edmonton Kubota has you covered with the all-new M8 Series tractor with powerful 181 and 201 horsepower engines, Cummins power, and loader readiness. It's built to handle any challenge. And now, for a limited time, get a free 4-year extended warranty when you drive off with an M8 Series tractor. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Visit Edmonton Kubota today and power up your productivity. Edmonton Kubota, where power meets performance.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
I couldn't ignore it. Everyone kept saying, "You look so tired."
Are you getting enough sleep, dear?
Hon, you look like you need some rest.
But I'm not tired. I guess I just look that way.
But you don't have to. I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I provide skin-refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance. Don't worry, we won't drastically change how you look, but we will help you look as energetic as you feel. Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. I think it's safe to say we are all paying attention to interest rates these days. If so, you'll like this. We have 0% financing available on Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer. 0% on the Dodge Durango and the all-new Hornet. And the rates on Ram 1500, Ram 2500, and Ram 3500, you guessed it, 0%. Are you picking up the theme? We have 0% financing on virtually all 2024 new models with hundreds to choose from. Why pay interest? Instead, come get a new vehicle at St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge.
Diablo Boots in Canada West. 2 great names in working cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has working cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Well, I wonder how often this will be a conversation point for the Edmonton Oilers as Philip Broberg just scored his first goal of the season, unassisted, and the Blues have tied the game 1-1. Sorry, 2-2. So there you go. How many goals for Philip Broberg, the $4.6 million man? Good for him. First Gino of the season. The old Rister. Let's be honest, they didn't sign Broberg to score a huge amount of goals, right? But trust me, if you're Philip Broberg, it's your first game with your new team, you're pretty fired up to produce. Make no mistake. Every player wants it to happen. It's a guaranteed, man. You get excited. It's a way to feel. It's no different than Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, and they're veterans. But they're going to want to get off the schneid as quick as possible. It always happens for all those teams. Jason Gregor. Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440 Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook as we get to our football report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit or your furnace. We're still thinking AC because it's nice out. But sadly, furnace is going to come into play soon. Make sure it's ready. LegacyHeating.ca. So welcome Andy Petrello in from On One Soccer, CBC Sports. And also, what's the official term, Andy? Is it Monday Night Amazon? What are you? The Amazon lady? What do we call you?
Yeah, I guess it's Monday. It's Prime on Monday, and also Coast to Coast on Thursdays for Amazon. So,
okay. So you're double dipping Monday and Thursdays.
I sure am. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Back to talking hockey. Terry, where have you been? Hi.
Here, there, and everywhere, as the Beatles once said, and I'm not exaggerating.
Nice to see you again.
Great to see you. Yeah, it's been a busy summer. A lot of appearances, events, and festivals.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad.
We shot season 4 at Shoresy too, so a lot of it was I was holed up in Sudbury having a hell of a summer.
In Sudbury, go Sudbury.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get to some of the Amazon stuff with you in a sec, Andy, but we'll start with some soccer talk. Does Herdman return, or are they going to wait to see what this investigation that's like? I don't know how long of an investigation they need to do, but it sure seems like it's a pretty slow moving investigation.
Oh yeah, and there's so many things to take into consideration here. So here's the thing. It's always like, what do you think will happen? And what should happen? I think he'll be back next year. I just do. First year, there's a lot of, and I don't want to say built-in excuses because that it's like a negative connotation. But there are some built-in reasons why Herdman was handcuffed with Toronto FC this season. Once again, you look at the signings of Insigne and Bernadeschi. Bernadeschi really turned things around this year, but Insigne, once again, a bust. It's a lot of money tied up into two guys. They still have other players on the books who are not even with the team anymore. They still have a coach on the books, Bob Bradley, who Herdman, replaced, who's still on the books. So from a money perspective, they weren't really able to make the kinds of trades or signings they wanted to. They couldn't get that number 9, that bona fide striker. So there's a lot that you can look at and say, okay, there was a lot that was working against him. But at the same time, this is a question I always like to ask. What felt different? Did anything feel different? Did he move the needle in any category with TFC? Sure, they finished a bit better than last year, but the bottom line is they missed the playoffs. They made the final of the Canadian Championship and didn't win it. Vancouver Whitecaps won it for a third straight year. No trophy, no playoffs. And there were numerous times when John Herdman could be seen on camera, when something went wrong in a game, turning around and looking up at the box where Jason Hernandez, the GM, sits and other management and giving them stink eye, big stink eye. So there's a real disconnect even between the head coach, it seems, and management. Do they believe in each other? Sometimes, we always ask if a coach will be let go. But in this case, I almost wonder, because Herdman's done this before. This is not necessarily a compliment. Herdman's not a captain who goes down with his ship. If he sees it sinking, he'll start making phone calls elsewhere. So I almost wonder if he's going to start making some not that he can, because now he's back and he's in the pro game now. When you're under contract, you're under contract. You can't be pulling those kinds of shenanigans, even though we know he did it with the national team. But I mean, I don't think things changed much under Herdman, Jason, but I also don't know if MLSE has the stomach to pay out another coach and have him on the books and not coach for them. That's the predicament they're in.
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation, right? To say the least. It's just, I don't know. There seems to be a lot of added drama around it. Andy, that I don't know. It seems like Herdman wants maybe more control, doesn't like the GM. And so I don't know. It doesn't seem like this is going to last where it's amicable. I'm far away from it, but when I watch stuff I read, that's kind of come out. You're a lot closer. What do you think?
Well, sure. I mean, again, already, like I said, there already seems to be a rift between him and management. There seems to be that disconnect. Again, if, is MLSE, there's 2 more years remaining on Lorenzo Insigne's deal. Do they just because, I mean, to me, if you keep Insigne for another 2 years, a miracle needs to happen for him to just suddenly snap out of whatever funk he's in. I mean, he's always injured. He doesn't seem to have the attitude to want to be here. So if you're MLSE, maybe you turn around and just bite the bullet and say, we're going to buy him out of his final 2 years. Hope that there's like the money there, do what it is that Herdman wants to do and try to turn things around. Okay. But again, I go back to, do they believe in each other? Does Herdman believe in management? Do they believe in him? Is it going to be the same old? You're right. The drone scandal, even though that's a Canada Soccer thing, it's still lingering. They're waiting for the investigation to come out. So even from a PR perspective, that will look horrible on Herdman. That will look horrible on TFC, having a coach who's basically been, if this is all hypothetical, of course, comes out and he's implicated in this investigation. That doesn't look good either. Behind the scenes, I know management feels like they've given him everything from a technological standpoint. No expense was spared in giving him all the TVs, technology, computers, you name it, analytics, whatever, to his favor. I mean, you look at the bench. First of all, he has more assistant coaches than I've ever seen on any team. There's more assistant coaches on that bench than there are substitute players. You look at that bench, they're all staring at iPads. I get it. Technology's part of it, but use it during the week when the game's on. Lift your head up, watch the game. What could they all possibly be staring at? So there's a lot of that as well, where they feel like they've given him everything. I mean, I remember being on this show, Jason, when he was announced as head coach, and then they said he wouldn't coach until like the final game of the season. What coach in any game, pro sport, have you heard has been named the head coach, but yet doesn't take the reins right away? He went months where he was allowed to sit up top and observe the team and get to know the organization. He's basically been afforded every luxury. And the first year was not good. Again, no trophy with Canadian Championship, no playoffs. It hasn't been good for Herdman. It really hasn't.
Andy, the Whitecaps lost 2 in a row. Now they clinched a playoff spot, which is awesome, but they lost 2 in a row, and they haven't won since September 14th or 15th, I believe. So, I mean, what can you tell us about that situation and how do things look?
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit surprising because, again, they've been in a playoff picture the entire year, so that's been good. They have guys like Ryan Gauld and Brian White who've been able to score for them at times. They did put a lot into the Canadian Championship. It was no secret they wanted to three-peat. The national title meant a lot. And rightfully so, because for Canadian teams, when you win the national title, you gain entry into CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is a massive tournament. It's huge for the franchise. It also means money. And I'm just wondering, did they kind of put all their energy into that? And then after the Canadian Championship, it's kind of been a wee bit of a slide. And, right now they're either looking at facing the Galaxy, which is the top seed in the Western Conference, or another LA team, LAFC, a team that's had Vancouver's number in the playoffs and in CONCACAF Champions Cup last year. That's not a team you want to face. You don't want to be on a collision course to face them. So yeah, they'll get in, but in what kind of form will they be in? Like, that's the big question. Their big guys aren't necessarily scoring. Their defense has kind of slipped away as well. So I don't know if it's a little bit, again, of a Canadian Championship hangover. And they're just like, listen, we clinched, get through it, whatever. Not exactly the best attitude to have. I mean, Terry, you kind of know this as well. We always talk about the timing of things. Like slumping near the end of the regular season, even though you have a playoff spot, is the worst timing. Why would you ever want to go into the playoffs, in that kind of form? So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned here. They do have one more regular season game to go, and that will for sure decide if they play LA Galaxy or if they play LAFC. But it's also worth noting, finishing in their spot, 8th, 9th, that's a play-in game.
Mm-hmm.
So like they've guaranteed themselves a play-in game, but they have to then win that game to then go into a proper playoff series. So, they haven't exactly put themselves in the best situation down the stretch here.
Well, speaking of that, Montreal, Montreal are hanging on the 9th. I believe a draw will see them through, but I think, isn't it surprising that they're even there, or am I wrong?
It's crazy. This is a team who right out of the gate, from turmoil behind the scenes to a new head coach once again. This was like their third head coach in 3 years. It just was not working for them. They went on a 9-game winless stretch. They've been on the outside looking in for the majority of the season. And then suddenly, Joseph Martinez, this guy who was MVP caliber a few years ago, most of his playing career with Atlanta, suddenly he's turned back the clock. And down the stretch here now, they went on a 5-game unbeaten streak. He ended up picking up 5 goals in 3 matches, couple of braces down the stretch. They did end up losing their last game, which has put them in this position right now where they are hanging on to that final spot. So yeah, if they lose and the teams chasing them like Philly, DC, they could leapfrog them, but a draw will see them through. But the fact that they're even in this playoff conversation is remarkable. It's a testament to what the players have been able to do. It's a testament to Laurent Courtois, their head coach, and what he's been able to get them to believe in. But more than anything, Martinez has woken up and he's been scoring goals for them. So where the Vancouver Whitecaps, even though they're definitely in the playoffs, have kind of done this downward slide heading into postseason action, CF Montreal, still desperately trying to clinch that spot, is just on this upward trajectory that it could actually be a little bit frightening to face them in the playoffs with the way they've been playing lately.
Good point.
Andy Petrillo joins us. And I want to get to, we'll end up talking about your new gig Mondays and Thursdays on Amazon Prime. I know it's, they're going to be very different shows, because the Thursday one is for any of our NFL fans. It's essentially going to be like the Red Zone, right? Because Thursday night, there's tons of games. There's 9 this Thursday, and I think some Thursdays there's like 11 or 12. There's going to be a ton. And so basically, it's just going to be like a highlight reel show that just goes from game to game, picking out all the best things that happen.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So this Thursday, for example, we have 9 games, and we'll be on from 7 to 11 p.m. because there's quite a few games that start at 7. Couple other games that will then start at 8. And the whole point of it is, if we hear there's a goal that's scored, if there's a power play, there's a big play, if there's a fight, whatever it is, we're jumping into that game. We will show the highlight of it, and then we will stay with that game and we will analyze it. So I will always have 2 analysts with me. It'll be a rotating guest of analysts every week. So it'll always be different voices, different expertise, different personalities. So it is a combination, obviously, of X's and O's, but it's also just having fun, storytelling. Analytics will also be involved. We'll also have insiders who will be coming in and just updating us on things, big storylines as well that are going on in the NHL. But the actual show itself, it's high octane, and it's just constantly jumping from game to game. Some of the games will stay for 10, 15 minutes. Like sometimes we'll also just say, let's just go in, to this period right now between, I don't know, like whoever's playing that particular night, we're going to jump on in. I mean, the Ottawa Senators and Florida Panthers are going to be playing on Thursday. Maybe we just want to keep an eye on how the Tkachuk brothers are doing. There you go. 10 minutes, first period action. We'll just show you that. Maybe the brothers will drop the gloves and highly entertain us for that one during that time. But it definitely is like Red Zone meets the Mannings. So you'll have some jokes, storytelling, some guests. We already have some guests that I know they're going to be joining us on Thursday, but I don't want to give it away. But we do have like some special guests. Maybe it's somebody who's with Edmonton, just saying. Maybe an Oiler's going to be joining us. I'll tease you with that one. So we'll also just have players kind of popping in as well, too. It's one of those shows where, listen, if you want to sit and watch it for 5 hours, please, I'll be there, with the exception of a couple bathroom breaks. I would love for you to stay with me for the entire 5 hours. But I also know that it's one of those shows where people have on in the background. And then the second you hear me say, we have a goal, let's go to this game, then people usually will turn around and pay attention. So, I just hope that it's something that can entertain people, and more than anything, just kind of keep people informed. Because, I mean, we know, Jason, that unless it's your team, you're probably not going to sit for the 2.5 hours to watch a game. But on a Thursday night where you can hop from one game to another and stay up to date on the latest hockey news, yeah, why wouldn't you turn into that show?
Should be great. It's definitely something I think hockey fans are going to be watching, Andy. So not only for your analysis, but we'll be evaluating and analyzing your wit. Okay, you said there'll be jokes, so we'll be rating that.
Right? No, I'm not funny. Oh no. Oh no.
You're going to be judged.
Yeah, you're going to be judged. We will be ranking it. Just so you know, as good teammates, that's what you do.
All right, then you can, give me your analysis on the following Tuesday on how I did.
Yeah, every Tuesday we'll be like, oh, how'd Petrilla do on Monday? Send in your text, 833-401-1440.
That joke was lame, Petrillo. Moving on.
Is there a thing called mum jokes? We'll see.
I might start it.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. Have a great day.
See you guys.
It's Andy Petrillo. She is moving now to Tuesday. She was on Monday, but she's obviously got her Monday gig now, so she'll be joining us every Tuesday on the show. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. It is always the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. When we come back, Jason Strudwick.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
It's Midnight Madness at the Brick. Stores will be closed on Friday to lower prices and then reopen at 5 p.m. with incredible 7-hour deals in every department. Get 30% off furniture and free local delivery when you spend $4.99 or more. Plus, get 40% off mattresses and buy any TV or appliance to get a $50 credit for furniture, home decor, and mattresses. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
When it comes to your health, trust Dr. Bryce Henderson for expert care in hip and knee replacements. With years of experience and advanced techniques, Dr. Henderson helps you regain your mobility and quality of life.
Your health is my priority. Let's get you back to doing what you love.
Put your health in the hands of a trusted expert. Book your consultation with Dr. Henderson today. Visit vitalsurgicalspecialist.ca or call 587-391-7864.
Cross Mitsubishi is giving you a chance to see a hockey game in style.
Just head to Cross Mitsubishi and take a test drive. You'll be entered to win a pair of hockey tickets to a November game, $200 for food and drinks, and 2 Edmonton jerseys of your choice.
Get in the game with Cross Mitsubishi, home of the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada and the 10-10-10 warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition. 9605 34th Ave and crossmitsubishi.ca.
New Jizz Nuggets. This is New Jizz Nuggets, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. What nugget of heating and cooling advice does Nuge have today?
You can save a lot of money by bundling your new furnace and AC with Legacy. It's kind of like saving money on an endorsement by bundling me, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, with someone like, Zachary Martin Hyman. Thanks for suggesting me, Nuge.
Get no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new AC and furnace from Legacy Heating and Cooling. Proud sponsor of
New Jizz Nuggets.
Portions of
have to admit, I've been downloading quite a few ABBA songs in my playlist lately. It's been great introducing my son to some of them when we're in the car. I can't play too many back to back, but he doesn't mind the odd one. There's a few toe tappers, no question. So it's good times. Good times.
How about this? I was just listening this afternoon to my brand new. I said, I haven't got this. I can't believe I don't have ABBA Gold on vinyl. But anyway, here it is. I've been listening to it all afternoon. I cannot believe that you just brought that up.
Oh, that's amazing. ABBA Gold. Jeez, our next guest will be fired right up as we get to Struds On, brought to you by Action Electrical, where get in on residential solar, commercial solar, or electrical preventative maintenance for your commercial buildings, which includes infrared testing as well as energized and de-energized testing. We know what that's all about. Here's Struds On. Oh, a new one.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struds On.
I don't believe in tea bags. I use loose leaf tea. And it is so much better than the tea bags. I'll eat tea bags.
Struds On.
I'm not a huge DJ guy. I mean, I guess if you had me a couple glow sticks and a tight white t-shirt that I can get wet, maybe I'd be into it.
Struds On.
There's a lone steakhouse I used to go to down in Kentucky, and they had bowls of peanuts. I wasn't sucking on those ones. You need to have clean nut. I'm talking about the kind you get in a bag at an Elks game. You know what I mean?
It's time for Struds On.
Oh, jeez. Those are some classics. Struddy, how you doing?
I'm good. Those are some pretty funny ones for sure.
Oh, those oldies but goodies. Oh, man. Oh, sucking on nuts. Oh, God. Teabagging. It's a strange weekend for old Struddy. Strange weekend. I like it. So the Oilers, Travis Dermott's here. We had Stan Bowman, the GM, on our show earlier today, and he said, hey, obviously, you know what, Josh Brown, they don't think he's gone forever. He's got to get his game. He didn't feel that he played very well in a snapshot in time, but like, you got to play pretty poorly on a 3-year deal to get sent down to the minors, don't you?
It is, but I think you also have to look at it. He is a 6th, 7th defenseman. So this isn't like they're sitting whomever, someone who signs like Connor Brown or someone who signed a longer term deal. And then that's not to be disrespectful to Josh Brown. I was him. He is I. So I know what I'm talking about here. So the cap isn't such that it hurts them if he sends them down the minors. He got security, which I think, I would feel at his age, that'd be a pretty important thing. So now he's got to go down and play well, and he's going to play. It's not like he's going to be buried for 3 years here, guys. He will play, but maybe it was nerves, maybe whatever. He had a tough stretch. That happens. Now you got to get back and find your way back to the NHL. And I feel pretty confident he will play games for the Oilers this year.
Yeah, and Stan Bowman pretty much said that on the show earlier today that he thinks he will. It's not the last they've seen of him. Chris Knobloch has come out. You know what? Janmark's going to start with Draisaitl. He says, hey, we balance out our scoring a little bit more with Skinner, with Henrique. And he was very quick to point out, hey, we're going to use different lines, different matchups. If you want, maybe on the road, Struddy, you have your third lines, more defensive lines. So if they get out there, you're really confident in them. He did admit that, when Skinner's with Henrique, they're not going to be in defensive situations, right? That's not Jeff Skinner's forte by any stretch of the imagination. Do you think he was too quick to pull out the rug on that second line, or do you think it's a quiet little message to Jeff Skinner, like, okay, chop chop, season starts?
I think that sending a message in right after preseason is probably a little bit premature. So I feel unlikely that was the case. Now, I'm not in the dressing room. I don't know what's going on, but I just have a hard time seeing that happening. I did think, I do think heading to the season, you'll see a bit of a mix in that top 9, and because he has to know what he can do with the various lines, or maybe one line's not going, or maybe there's injuries, or he wants a different look. So I think we will see different looks in that. And putting Skinner with Henrique and Brown, that is definitely a different look than with Janmark there. But it also changed the looks of Leon's line. Leon, you're thinking, well, okay, I've got 3. This is a pretty strong line, and no disrespect to Janmark, I don't think he's a consistent top 6 winger at this time, or really, I don't think any time in his career. So he goes up there. On the flip side of that, I think Arvidsson has looked good with Leon, right? So I think he's really looked good beside Leon. I think they're only going to get better together. So they'll figure out what kind of happens on that left side. But Graves, I just can't see it. He's sending a message to a guy, they haven't even played a game yet in the regular season. And to be fair, they only played 4 or 5 periods together in the exhibition.
Yeah. Do you have any sense of Emberson yet?
I mean, I want to, but it's just hard to gauge it in a regular season. I've got to have to see, 10, 20 games to kind of see how it plays out for him. If I were him, my approach would be to be very good at moving the puck and hard defensively. That'd be and not running guys over, but just being stout and strong defensively and moving that puck up quickly. Because I think that's what they need in that second pairing that maybe they didn't feel, or they're not sure who can do it right now. He's gonna get his chance, but just game by game, period by period, even just worry about those things. Can he do it? I suppose he can. I mean, anyone can play top 4, not anyone, but almost any D-man who plays NHL can play top 4 minutes for a stretch. But a stretch is an 82 games and the playoffs. So I'm not seeing a lot more to say that he can be, their 4th defenseman heading into what they hope will be a long playoff run in whatever number of months.
Struds, were you ever on a PTO, and what do you recall? You had a long career. As the biggest success story in that category when you played?
Yeah, PTO. No, I did. I got offered one after my last year to Vancouver, and I felt that I didn't have a chance to make the team, and I was just going there to kind of be a fighter. And I was like, I don't need any more fights. I've had enough. I don't remember a lot of PTOs working when I played for teams. I don't really, quite frankly, remember any, if any. But it feels like there's more opportunity now for PTOs. Guys do get signed, not everyone, but guys do get signed because teams are up against the cap and they're looking for deals, right? They're looking for guys that can maybe surprise them and give them 40 good games. So in the case of Dermott, is he an 82 game player for the Oilers? Probably not. It's unlikely, but is he a deal at 775 if he plays 40 games or 30 games or 50 games and can play 15 minutes? I think that's a pretty good deal. And now if he can do more than that, if he does play 82, I'll be wildly impressed. That'd be a really good deal, especially if he plays well. So I think that the Oilers have a lot of depth in that 6, 7, 8 spot. They're missing one guy to step up and find that 4 spot, and then everyone else to be pushed down. Because I don't think they'll be looking for, trade a 7th rounder for a 7th defenseman. They'll be looking for, a big game hunting to push everyone down from 4, 5, and 6.
Guys, Struds first. What do you think Anaheim's plan is? I don't see them making the playoffs. Do you think they see themselves there? And if they don't, it'll be another dismal year, like half dozen or more years not in the playoffs. But I'm saying this because they got 5 top 10 picks under 23. Now, what do? Do you keep it because the longer that they're around, at best mediocrity, and I don't even know if they're mediocre, the longer that their career kind of dangles in the wind, then it could go south. What do you think? What do you think their plan is? Do you think that they think they're going to make it?
Well, I've compared them a lot to Ottawa, actually. Ottawa had a lot of young talent, and it's taken a while for them to get off the mat, and I think that for a couple of years now, at least people are like, hey, they're going to turn the corner. And now, new coach, new GM, hopefully what they hope would be a new attitude. Maybe the goal, an injured goalie. I think they're going to be under pressure to try to make the playoffs this year. I think it's unlikely to make the playoffs. Their coach, I think, is trying to get them to play a little bit more responsible type game. And we saw it through here at the Oilers. I mean, it's all that talent's great, and you got to learn to play, both ends of the rink and under not every second of every game, but you got to play there. Sometimes you just got to be responsible, depending on who you're on the ice against, the time of the game, what matter, what's going on in the game, what's happening in the game. So I really think for Anaheim, the Pacific Division, probably San Jose's, in and around that same mix. You got the Oilers, Van, and probably Vegas. The Kings are probably the next group in there. Calgary is probably with that lower group. So it's kind of like, I think it's 3, 1, and then 3, somewhere in that range.
Good point. Yeah.
Well, I look at the Ducks, and I don't think they believe that they're going to compete. I think that though they now want to make a step. I think Cam Fowler is going to be one of the more sought after players at the trade deadline. I think he's going to get he needs 26 games to play 1,000 in his career for the Ducks. And I think after that, guys, I think he's somebody that team now, because you can get Fowler for 2 playoff years. And that makes him more valuable. It just does. Now, especially if Anaheim's going to eat some of his contract, well, that makes him even more valuable. And so maybe they get a little bit higher of a pick because of it, or another prospect. We'll see. But I have no illusions of him. I'm curious. His name's been out there forever. He had the appendectomy. They have Dostal and they have Reimer. If and when he comes back and he's healthy, I wonder if we see them move their goaltender and just say, hey, we'll give Dostal it now, and we can have Reimer as our veteran backup, and away we go. Because I think Dostal's numbers have actually not been bad, and I'm curious to see how he looks as the main guy. Struddy, going to the orders, they got the Jets tomorrow. Then you've got 3 teams who missed the playoffs last year in Chicago, Calgary, and Philly. Chicago, you'll play on the second half of back-to-back. Calgary also, but you're also playing back-to-back. So you know what? And the schedule is very much in their favor early on this season. I look at that Winnipeg game, and Connor McDavid, who he's been very outspoken in the fact that they need to start well. I think McDavid, Struddy, comes out like he is shot out of a cannon in this 4-game homestand. What's your expectations early on for 97?
Well, let's start with the team, Greg's. And I think that everyone's a little gun shy after the start last year. There was so much momentum, so much positive talk. The captain skates coming back early. Everyone's getting a cup or bust. And they were unraveled then, and they were rattled for a long stretch until they changed the coach, and then they kind of got it going. So I don't know why. I wonder if they, the first 10 games, are they 5-5, 6-4? Like, do they have a hangover after the playoffs? Right? Does it take a little while to gel? That some of the new players into this lineup, some of the guys that are fighting for those kind of 4, 5, 6 spots for the Edmonton Oilers. Does that also take a little while to gel? But I think that some of the players on this team, like Stu Skinner, I think he's ready to take another step forward. This guy has lots of experience. Think at his age. There aren't many goalies in NHL that have been through what he's been through, what is the team has been through with winning and losing. Just go back to the Vancouver series last year where he was taken out and then put back in. Well, I didn't think he should have been taken out or put in, which is pretty crazy to say. So I think he'll take a step forward. As far as 97, I don't know, point projections, there's people all over the map, obviously well over 100 points. But, I do wonder if they aren't able to somehow manage their ice time more to save those guys more over the year. And I know I say this every year, and I'll keep saying it because I think it does make a difference. I think long-term over the season, it does make a difference. So does his point total suffer? Maybe. But we know this about Connor. When the team needs him and we feels him down, he comes out pushing. So I'm not sure how they're going to come out. So maybe tomorrow night he comes out flying early in this season and maybe set the tone for his team.
You're expecting him to score more than 42 points in 25 playoff games next year?
No, and I hear you. And it's not even, it's just, I believe that teams function well when they try to go with 4 lines more often than not. Now, I know it doesn't always happen that way. This isn't, tier 3, U13 hockey. I get that. But still playing more people to keep everyone involved. Like, I look at the power play. So if Arvidsson, he might kill penalties, but if Skinner doesn't get on the power play, he's not killing anything. How's he getting extra ice time? So how do you get that guy involved? Well, maybe more 5-on-5, or maybe there is a second power play that gets out there because it could be pretty decent. So yeah, I'm not criticizing his play in the playoffs, but these years start to add up as far as deep playoff runs. Whether they've gone 3-2-4 as far as series, that's 9 playoff series the last 3 years. That's a pretty healthy amount. Plus, you got that tournament that's coming up, the Four Nations Cup. And so I would just like to see them try on nights that you can to please play 4 lines, get everyone involved, and kind of make them all feel like they're a part of this team.
Yeah, here's a fun stat. Because I looked this up and it's coming on my article tomorrow, but I was looking at the power play stuff last year for the Oilers. Nathan MacKinnon played 370 minutes on the power play. last year. Connor McDavid played almost 100 fewer minutes. He was at actually did play 100. He was at 259 on the power play. Like the Oilers, they don't get as many power plays, so that's a factor for sure. But I don't know if we're going to see a real big reduction in the power play minutes, because Connor at 259 minutes last year on the power play. Now he missed some games, but he ranked 51st in penalty in power play minutes. Hyman was 50th, Leon Draisaitl was 39th, and Bouchard was 33rd. So I don't know if their power play is that overly taxed. I get what you're saying. You'd like to see the second unit on there a little bit more. I think Jeff Skinner, because of his prowess as a 5-on-5 player, Struddy, that's where I'm going to be like, hey, we can maybe take a shift less, especially if he's on your third line, of the top two guys and play that line more 5-on-5. I think that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I get that. Listen, but you need to find ways. So when Evander Kane comes back, you could have Henrique, Kane, and Skinner. And I'm just assuming that Kane comes back. That's three guys that probably could be and should get some power play time. Now, maybe not the first unit level, but they could be. And Arvidsson as well. If he's not on if he's on that top unit, that's 3 or 4 players that they would like to get their touches as well. And you want them to feel those touches. And TR can talk a little bit more than I can, but players can get their confidence through power play points and goals. And I think that's what Knoblauch is challenged now. They have deeper depth. They can play in those kind of bigger moments. And how do you get everybody out there? Or not everybody, but try to allocate the numbers fairly so that these guys can feel like they're getting their touches, and it helps their offensive play 5-on-5.
Struddy, where are the Oilers finishing in the West, the Pacific this regular season?
Yeah, I think they're going to take the Pacific Division. I'm looking at some of the other teams like Vegas forward group. I'm not so worried. Their D is still solid. Vancouver, number of changes there as well. Demko worries me a little bit if he's not around. So I think that they can take it for the first time in a while. And then I look at Dallas as kind of the other team that's going to go for it. I'm not Nashville. I don't know. I know that they could score in the playoffs, and maybe they added a lot of scoring, but they didn't add spring chickens. So, is that the answer? I'm not sure. We'll see. So I think that I've got them and Dallas fighting for supremacy in the West.
All right. Great stuff. Struddy, have yourself a good week. We'll be talking regular season games. We'll have 3 of them to discuss next Tuesday. Have a great day.
Yeah, looking forward to it, guys. Hopefully a long run again.
Oh, hey, Struddy, do you like turkey at Thanksgiving?
Well, that's all I have. Yeah, don't go half-assed with a ham. It's not ham. It is a turkey. That's what it is. That's what it's intended for.
And but you don't like pumpkin pie, do you?
Oh, no, I did. They didn't know what to do with pumpkin, so they threw it in a pie and they cover it with like ice cream and stuff. The masking. It's not the best thing about pumpkins are the seeds. That's it.
Yeah, you do love your pumpkin seeds, but pumpkin pie, you haven't lived until you've had I'll say right now, the Costco pumpkin pie is one of the greatest bargains going. It's massive and it's $6.99.
But they got to price it like that so they can sell it. No one's buying it.
Dude, are you kidding me? You gotta wait until they announce the shipments in, because by the time you get to the store, it's sold out. They have to limit the amount that people were buying, because some people are hogs and they were buying too many. True story.
Yeah. Can't do it.
How good can a food be if it's only trendy once a year, though? Really, how good can a food be if it's only trendy once a year? No one wants it in April. You know what I mean? So that's as far as I go with that. I'm the same with the pump. I'm kind of with Struds on this, to be honest with you. It's all a matter of opinion, but I don't know. No one's clamoring over it in April, where I still want a cheeseburger. Right?
Now, what I just learned, I did not know that when you lose teeth, you also lose some of your taste buds. I just realized that from you too. That's amazing. Things that I've learned on the show today. Lose your teeth, lose your taste buds at the same time. Crazy. Crazy stuff. All right. We'll talk to you next week.
See you, bros.
There you go. That's taste budless Jason Strudwick. We'll come back with 5 questions on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, and Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook and X.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for kids' sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor Broadcasting Live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapigout.com.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Look online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Oodle Noodle Origins.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and the time to think about winterizing your RV is before the snow flies. There's a lot of steps you need to take to winterize your trailer or motorhome.
And you have to get every step right every single time. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. Because if you make even a little mistake, you might not realize it till spring. By then, it's too late to fix what you got wrong.
Hey, Rick, do you winterize your own trailer?
Not anymore, Bob. I hired people who are smarter than me. Genius technicians who check every component. Dozens of systems to be maintained and protected. And today, we offer that service to you, starting at $99. Every winterization package comes with a full report in writing, so you know what to expect come spring. If you're confident to do it yourself, have at it. If you're like me and you'd rather have this done by somebody who knows what they're doing, then come to Noble, and we'll take care of you.
And that's Noble.
NobleRV.ca.
If you missed it earlier, it's been a wild and wacky first NHL game in North America as Seattle hosting the Blues. That's Seattle's first time they open up the season on home ice in 4 years in the National Hockey League. They're taking on the Blues, though, who have the best season opening road record of teams who have played at least 5 games. Vegas has only played 2 to start the season on the road, but the Blues have the most wins and are looking to add another one. As we'll see, they did score 3 goals in 1 minute and 55 seconds, including one that had Dylan Holloway getting an assist on Philip Broberg's first goal of the season. One that wasn't a great goal by the Seattle netminder, I wouldn't think. So, but good for Broberg. I'll be pretty fired up. And if you have Jordan Kyrou, 2 goals to start the season for the St. Louis Blues young forward. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick, where saving you more is what they do. And guess what? They're getting ready. Midnight Madness is this Friday. So plan ahead. You can get huge savings, but only for 7 hours. It starts this Friday at 5 p.m. at the Brick.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1. Last year, the Rangers led all teams in points at the end of the season with 114. Do you think a team this season will finish with more? And if so, who would be your pick?
Okay, so first of all, I don't normally pay attention to the totals. I don't really care. I just look at who's playing and how many games they, you know what I mean? Like as it goes towards the end, I just look at who's in those places. I never think of the totals. I don't know why, but I don't want to say irrelevant, but the way I keep track, I don't really care. So that being said, the 2 teams I think that will be the most successful, and I hate playing to the Edmonton crowd all the time, but I think the Oilers and the Panthers. Why? A, they were in the Stanley Cup final. They outlasted everybody else. And of the teams that were close, I think that they still have the nucleus enough and the parts to do it. And the Oilers, after that losing stint, went on a crazy run. And if you take out that beginning of the season, they were way better than everybody else. And they still have the nucleus to do that. And then some. You didn't make that many changes. And the Panthers, after kind of a period of mediocrity, have really been on a tear, and in the last 4 or 5 years have only been getting better, and I don't see any reason for that to change. And so I'm picking 2 of those teams. However many points it is, I don't know, but I think they're going to lead the NHL.
114 is pretty good record. Do I think someone can go more? Ooh. I think there's going to be the bottom teams have improved. San Jose is not going to be a 47-point team. I don't think Chicago is going to be a 52-point team. So they're going to steal some points. Now, some teams I think Carolina is going to lose some. I think Winnipeg is going to lose some. So, you know what? I don't know if there'll be more than 114, but I would say Dallas or Edmonton. The Atlantic's too tough. I don't think anybody in the Atlantic's going to get that many. So I will go with Dallas or Edmonton.
All right, question number 2. If McDavid was not an option, who do you have as your pick to win the Hart this season?
Well, because if your team has more success, it helps. I think his team is actually going to finish first in their division, and he'll likely score 60 goals. So if I wasn't picking McDavid, I would pick Matthews.
That's a good pick. To be different, I can't believe I'm saying Makar's an outlier, but it's been a long time since a defenseman has won, and who knows, maybe he has a magical year. There's been so many defensemen lately having big years that I think it's lost upon some people how good that Makar is and remains, and he's in his prime. So that is going on a limb, because my first choice would have been Matthews. A guy who gets 69 goals is probably always going to be in the running for the Hart.
Right now in the majors, the Mets do lead the Phillies 2-0, bases juiced. We'll see what happens when it comes down. But all the series tied at 1 game apiece. If you could pick your 4 teams to go through, which 4 teams would you pick?
I'm a diehard Jays fan. After that, I pay close attention because I like the emotion in sports, and I like watching all the fans and the fandoms come together. But really, if it's not the Jays, I'd love to see the Dodgers and the Yankees in for obvious reasons. I'd like to see Ohtani against Judge, and then some. And the markets are big. There's a lot of history to each. But if I could narrow it down to only Ohtani and Judge, only 2 players, this probably would be a year, given the years that they had respectively on each side. So that would be my pick, but I'm really impartial.
Well, I would like to see KC, number 1. I actually would have liked KC and the Yankees to meet in the final, but in the AL. But I will take KC, Cleveland, and I kind of like the Cinderella story. So as much as I like Ohtani, I'm going to go with the Padres. And the other one's tough. I guess I'll go with the Phillies simply because of the Philly fanatic.
Yeah, the Phillies, I should have let me add that too. I like the Phillies, and I like everything Philadelphia stands for. I love it as a sports town. So there you go. It'd be nice to see.
All right. Question number 4. The Raptors preseason underway officially now. Where do you think they'll finish in the Eastern Conference this season?
Well, they're not going to make the playoffs. So I will say they will finish 12th.
At best. There you go.
Best, okay.
At best.
Oh, good. Fun year coming up. Final question for you guys today is National Face Your Fears Day. So I want to ask you, what would you say your greatest fear is? And do you think you could ever face it at some point?
Mine is heights, and I've faced it a few times. Like, obviously, every time I get in a plane. But, I mean, I faced it twice. There's a story in my book. I hate to keep going back there. Actually, I haven't talked about it in a while. But Tales of a First Round Nothing. There is a story about me in Dallas camp, and we had to go through an obstacle. I'm not going to tell it right now. Maybe it's a good Ryan's rant next time, a Terry's tale, whatever you want to call it. But and each time I go to face it, I literally hyperventilate and almost pass out. So I'd love to. There's something on a subconscious level going on that I'd probably need like a therapist with me or something. I don't know what happens, guys. I literally faint. So have I faced it? Yeah, it's not good.
Wow. That's a good question, man. I don't know. Like, I'm not scared of heights. Yeah, I don't really have I feel like there's certain things I just wouldn't do, right? Because I'm not really interested in it. But it's not so much a fear. It's like, well, that just doesn't interest me. So I guess what would be.
Well, tell us one of those things. What do you mean? Like jumping out of a plane?
No, buddy. I love skydiving. I do it again. It was one of the greatest things I've ever did. I would totally do Oh, buddy, you never skydive? It's amazing. I would
never. Oh my God. I wouldn't jump off a 2-story ladder, man. Oh, I'm serious. I'm terrified.
Dude,
I get up on my roof and I need a panic attack.
Yeah, no, honestly, that was one of the best things ever. Like I just think you couldn't get me to eat a raw onion, even I see people eat slices of onions. I honestly I couldn't do that. So I guess I'm fearful of that. I'd be like,
wow.
Yeah, I hate onions. So yeah,
that's so far of a level down. So taking a bite out of something gives you the same. No.
It's not that I'm scared of it. But I'm just I deplore it. I'm literally why would I ever eat this? It just looks terrible. I wouldn't do it.
So you literally don't know what it's like to have a fear like I have.
Yeah, no, honestly, there's nothing there's nothing I'm not scared of the dark. I'm not scared of there's nothing that I can think of where it's oh my God, I've seen people, I know people that have scared of heights, and I've seen it. So I don't have that because I've seen people they get the sweats, man, and they're just like they can't do it. So I don't have that, thankfully. There's nothing that I'm just petrified of. Cons, you?
Similar to Terry, I would never go skydiving. I don't love heights. I don't like snakes, but I've held snakes. I tried to face the fear.
Yeah.
But heights would be the one for me.
Yeah, I don't sit there. Would I want to just sit down and have tarantulas crawl all over me? Probably not. But I'm not scared. If I see a tarantula, it doesn't I'm not bah! And screaming and passing out. I'm not a fainting goat or anything like that. So no, there's nothing there's things hey, do I want to go wrestle an alligator? No, I don't. I don't have a fear of it. I just, I think I have more common sense to want to do it. I wouldn't run, you know what? I don't have a fear of it, but I wouldn't want to run a marathon. No, thanks. I don't want to do it. So I don't, so it's not a fear, but it's just I have no interest in doing it. I respect people who do it. Not for me.
Hey. That's great. I wish you knew what. No, I don't wish my fear on anybody. I go up in the CN Tower to appease my buddies twice, and I literally got to crawl. I can't even stand up. Now, if I fall there, whether I'm crawling, rolling, or standing, it's not going to be any different. But for some reason, in order not to pass out and get dizzy, I got to be right low to the ground. And my buddy in the same trip is up there hanging off the side of it, doing the skywalk. I don't know how, I don't know why, and I'll never, ever do it again, ever.
I can't believe that you went up there. That's unreal. So,
twice. I went up as a kid, and I thought it'd help me overcome my fear. Okay?
You had fear of heights, right from a youngster. You did you ever fall out of something high? Did you fall off a ladder? Where'd it come from?
I don't know. And those dreams, they say you're falling. I used to have those 5 times a week.
But
like
you always wake up, right? You never hit the ground in your dream, do you?
No, but why was I having so many of them? I don't remember having an incident. No, I don't. But like, I mean it. Like I get to the point, like I start breathing. Well, I had to. Fun fact: the PHPA, so many games played. I don't know what it is, but they pay for your firefighting school for the most part if you want to go. They did years ago because this was like what? When did I have to retire? Like I was like 25 or 26. I got accepted for firefighting school. Did 2 months of it. I couldn't rappel down the building. I literally, the same thing happens. I just get dizzy and pass out. I had to drop out of firefighting school.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's like I can't put my I can't do it justice. Okay, here it is, guys. You ask about facing the fear. That's why I went in the CN Tower, because I said to myself, okay, look at all these. There's never been an incident. This is going to go up real high, but I'm protected, and there's no way that anything's going to happen. That's why I chose when my buddies were at me. I wouldn't want to go up on a bungee jump because I'd say maybe I'll slip and get nervous. But I was like, the CN Tower is safe enough. And both times, man, it was just the worst experience of my life.
Yeah. Quickly, do you like eggnog?
I don't mind it, but same thing. I think it's overrated. It's that time of year. Why? I don't want it in June.
Okay.
And I still want the cheeseburger.
Okay. Well, there you go. TR, we'll chat with you tomorrow. Season opener.
Thank you, Edmonton. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. I'll talk to you guys in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. See you in 2 days.
There you go. That's Terry Ryan. Actually, yeah, he's on Thursday now, not Wednesday. My bad. That was me. He's on Thursdays, not Wednesdays. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. And you know what? I mean, talking about it, I had to do it. I love the Ornsicle. It's back. They're celebrating 25 years. I just tried one today, and it is just as good as you remember. The Marathon, the original, they're all bringing back the big faves this month at Booster Juice. Download the Boosters Reward app or stop in at a Booster Juice near you.
The Sports 1440 update.
After being claimed by Vegas on Monday, Rafael Laval was waived by those Golden Knights today. Chris Streeter, Mackenzie Anderson, and Mark Friedman also on waivers. The Kraken naming Jordan Eberle as their second captain in franchise history, following Mark Giordano for the inaugural season. Eberle wore the A for the last 3 seasons. Kraken in action today. They trailed the Blues 3-2. Jordan Kyrou with 2 goals for St. Louis, and Philip Broberg scoring in his Blues debut. Later tonight, you got the Bruins taking on the Panthers. And then at 8 o'clock, Utah hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. Sirius Jackson, the straightforward, will start this weekend when the team takes on the Stampeders down in Calgary. Jared Dowie will get some starts or some snaps as well. Bill Thompson likely not to start. Major League Baseball. The Mets right now on top of the Phillies 4-0. This one midway through the 7th inning. Later tonight, the Dodgers in San Diego to take on the Padres. That series tied at a game apiece. WNBA tonight. Game 5 of the semifinal. Lynx and Sun. Winner of this one advancing to the final where they'll take on New York. And in the NBA, you've got some preseason getting going shortly. Hornets, Heat, Bulls, Cavaliers, Suns in Detroit. The Hawks host the Pacers, and the Nets taking on the Clippers. In some news from the NFL. After their 2-3 starts of the season, the New York Jets making a change at head coach, firing Robert Saleh, naming defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich as the interim head coach. Saleh had a record of 20-36 since joining the organization in 2021. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
You'll see us digging holes. No, we're not looking for buried treasure. You'll see us digging trenches as well. And no, we're not building a fort. We're GS Construction, and you'll see us in neighborhoods throughout the Edmonton area. So what are we doing? GS Construction provides rehabilitation and upgrade services to Edmonton and surrounding communities. Some of our underground utilities have served us for years and are past their useful lives. We replace them, so they're around for years to come. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles, they have a model to fit every need, all powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
It's Midnight Madness at the Brick.
Stores will be closed on Friday to lower prices and then reopen at 5 p.m. with incredible 7-hour deals in every department. Get 30% off furniture and free local delivery when you spend $4.99 or more. Plus, get 40% off mattresses and buy any TV or appliance to get a $50 credit for furniture, home decor, and mattresses. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Drive, pick, and win. All this month at Nisku Ford. Drive off in a brand new Ford with 0% financing or choose up to $24,000 in rebates. Then celebrate the season by picking your very own prize pumpkin from the Nisku Ford Pumpkin Patch. With every car purchase, new or used, you could plug TVs, gaming systems, AirPods, and more. Get all the prize details at niskuford.ca. Above expectations.
At the end of the day, a job well done is something I can see and touch. At the end of the day, I'm proud to see the things I'm building in my community. At the end of the day, I cash my paycheck without worrying about student debt because I never had any. At the end of the day, I wouldn't trade a career in the trades for anything.
Get more with a career in the trades. Explore careers at alberta.ca/trades. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Welcome back, hockey fans. NHL is here. MLB fans, the playoffs are here. CFL fans, the final few weeks are here. The Elks will have Trey Ford starting in Calgary on Saturday as they play out the string. Unfortunately, I'm missing the playoffs again. You have NFL going on. The Jets firing their head coach. There is no shortage of stories. I'm hearing some other changes coming in the coaching world here in look, I'm just trying to get 100% confirmation, but a name that's familiar to many of you be coaching here. Well, it might come down tomorrow. I got to get 100% check on that, but there you go. So that's coming. Of course, you got Prairie Junior Football playoffs. The Huskies going into a hornet's nest and try to knock off the number one ranked Hilltops. Haven't lost a game yet this year, so that'll be challenging. We got U Sports football going on. Oof, love it. So much happening. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you in Sports 1440 Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Also, it is Tuesday night, and you know what that means. PlayAlberta.ca is where you can get your tickets for Lotto Max, $55 million plus 4 Max Millions. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. All right, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. The Oilers had a practice today. They'll have an optional skate. It is game day tomorrow against the Winnipeg Jets at 8 o'clock. Well, let's be honest, a little bit later. It's the, first game of the year ceremony. They're introducing all the players, lots of stuff going on. So probably be closer to like an 8:20 something puck drop tomorrow night. And for those of you, we got our entries. We'll do the draw. Somebody's going to get a pair of sweet seats to go to the game tomorrow. That's coming up in about 50 minutes time. Let's get to the spec report now, brought to you by GS Constructions. And hey, sometimes you take the services and comforts around us for granted every day. Ever thought about the infrastructure goes in being able to turn the tap or flush your toilet? Well, there's a whole network of underground infrastructure, and GS works on it. GS Construction. As we welcome to the show once again from Rogers Sportsnet, Mark Spector. Spec, how are you?
Doing great. Big day today. Got some little clarity on what the Oilers are thinking of doing, I guess, and a lot less clarity on what the hell's going on with the Elks, Jay.
Well, they're, they're playing Trey Ford as they should, right? Like, they probably could have done this a few weeks ago, but I guess it's better late than never. To me, it makes perfect sense to play Trey Ford now. Like your season's over. He's a young quarterback. Like he has thrown fewer passes this year than he did as a rookie. How anybody can tell me that's proper development, I have no idea. So he's got to, like, if you rewind to this time last year, people are like, hey, you know what, the Elks, geez, they got a young quarterback looking like we got some momentum going. And they basically have just kind of wasted almost a full year. So they'll try to salvage something here with Trey Ford over the next few weeks, but it's kind of a wasted season of development for him.
Oh, for sure. And I think the quote I read, Dave Campbell over at Chet on Twitter said that Jarius Jackson said they want to kind of see what they've got in Ford for the rest of the year. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if you don't know yet what you got in Ford, that's on you, pal. Right?
Yeah.
You've been in the organization for what? Is this his third year?
Third year, yep.
Yeah, third year, and you still don't know what you got, huh? So that's that tells the tale right there. They're gonna he's gonna. So I don't know. Sure, I'm fine with that any day. So yeah. Anyway, let's see what we got at the end of the third year. It's about time to figure out what we got here, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, I would think so. The Edmonton Oilers spec, they make it official. Dermott gets a two-way deal, $775. Kane goes on LTIR. Wright and Savoy are back to the minors. I had Stan Bowman on the show in the 3 o'clock hour. If anybody missed it, go to jasongregor.com for the interview or the podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, and hour number 2 is where you can hear that. And, he was pretty honest about Josh Brown. He said, hey, you know what? His game isn't where it's at. But he said this is, if for a snapshot in time, his game's not where it's at. Said he fully believes that he'll be back with the team. This is why you have the American League to go down there. But obviously it's been disappointing, no question, that you sign a guy for a 3-year deal and he's starting out in the minors. It's not ideal. And so I look at it two ways. You can compound the mistake if you think it was a mistake to sign him. Right? That's fine. You can compound it by saying, well, doesn't matter, we got to keep him. Or you can say, no. Hey, just because you signed a deal doesn't matter to us. You got to go down there and earn your ice time.
Yeah, no, there's always been two sides to this. I'll never applaud a team that signs a guy as a free agent. He can't make the team. That's a mistake, and there's just no getting around it. I do applaud the GM that's got enough courage to say, okay, you know what? This didn't work out the way we thought. Let's send this guy down. He didn't let pride get in the way of things, right? He made the move he had to make. So, yeah, I'm with you on both of those. The guy should be able to play better, but if he can't, I admire the fact that Bowman's ego isn't too big to send him down, at least.
Yeah. No. So he'll start down there. He was very complimentary of Noah Philp. Said he expects him back in Edmonton. He's just not sure if it's going to be right away. You know what? They want to get him to play some more games. But he also said, hey, we like the 12 forwards we have, so we'll start with 12, and we'll see kind of where it goes from here with them and how they feel that, you know what, they got some guys here, but Noah Philp definitely showed you. He said he surprised them a little bit, especially for a guy who had a year off and doesn't have any NHL experience under his belt. Had played quite well.
Oh, he was fantastic. Like, that's one of the only things in training camp where we went in with question marks and came out with a real positive affirmation that, holy man, this guy can play a little bit. He looks like he's going to help around here. He's a young guy. This organization surely needs young players. And he's big and he wins faceoffs. And, it just so happens, I think their second oldest player is their fourth line center, and their oldest player is their fourth line right winger. And Philp is a fourth line center right winger, and he's young. So all of that's great. And then moving on, I would suspect that tomorrow we'll find out that they reclaim Lavoie off waivers.
Yeah.
You think so?
Well, yeah, I asked him directly that question. He didn't want to come out and say it for sure, but he goes, I'd be very interested. Yes, we didn't want to lose him. We were hoping him to go to the minors. And so for anybody out there wondering, Vegas, how the waiver wire works is it's reverse order for the first 10 games of the season. I think is it 10 games or a month? I think it's first 10 games.
I think it's till November 10th or something. But anyway,
is it that long? Okay,
I think so, but that's probably around 10 games.
I think it might be November 1st, maybe. But either way, so it's based on last year. So if you're 32nd, anybody who puts in a claim, and if there's multiple teams, the team that's ranked the lowest last year gets it. So Vegas was 14th out of 32 teams last year. So all the teams below them from 15 to 32nd didn't put in a claim on Lavoie. Otherwise, they would have got him. So then Vegas got him. So now that means there's 12 teams plus Edmonton who didn't put in a claim on him the first time, or if they did, they didn't get him because Vegas was ahead of them. Now, those are the top teams, right? Carolinas, New York, Toronto, et cetera, et cetera. I think the odds are pretty good in Edmonton's favor that no one else will put a claim in on him, and they will be able to reclaim him. And if no one else puts a claim in, then they can just send him straight to Bakersfield.
Yeah, I would say that even, let's just say I doubt anyone other than Vegas had a claim in 2 days ago. Let's just say for fun, the Toronto Maple Leafs did. Well, they're looking at this thing and they're going to say, if we try to get him again, we want to send him to the minors. Like, there's no one better than Vegas that's going to claim Lavoie and keep him in the NHL, unless someone gets hurt like tonight. So the chances that Edmonton will get him back, they'll be able to send him to Bakersfield, and he's going to go down there and hope for an injury. I don't know whether to feel like if I'm Rafi Lavoie and given a choice, which organization would I rather be in? The one that knows me, that I've been trying out for 5 years, that I can't seem to crack the NHL lineup in Edmonton, or the one that acquired me didn't even give me a practice and tried to assign me to the minors? Which one would I rather be in? I'm not frankly sure.
Yeah, that's a fair question, right? It's the old adage, is the grass always greener? You never know till you're in there. So
that's right. That's right. That grass wasn't any greener in Vegas. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, it didn't even sprout in Vegas. They put in multiple claims and elected to keep Cole Schwindt over Raphael Lavoie. Essentially, for anybody out there's wondering why would they claim the guy and then let him go, because they put in 2 claims and both landed. I don't think they thought they'd get both, and so then they decided after looking at it, we will keep Cole Schwindt and Lavoie will go back on waivers. The Winnipeg Jets come to town, Spec, tomorrow. You got Connor Halley, the Jets, the best defensive team in the regular season last year, and then got their doors blown off in the regular season. They got a new coach, but not a lot of changes other than that, although they did lose Dylan on the back end. What do you make of the Jets?
Well, I am surprised at how similar they are to last year. The only changes, they lost some guys. They lost Dylan. They lost Toffoli. I don't see how they got better. Do you see how they got much better this year?
No, not really.
That's my question. They're always a good team. Like Winnipeg, I give their organization credit. They're fighting against something that Edmontonians knew a while ago that we don't know anymore. Players don't want to come to Winnipeg. Free agents don't want to come to Winnipeg. They're a last resort. It's a winter city like ours, but it's smaller than Edmonton. Their rink is old and small and not great. It's a hard place. They fight it to get good players to come there. I give them credit. They draft really well. They develop really well. And every 2 years, when one of their good guys says, "Let me out of here," they turn him over and they tend to turn him into a good player, right? Cheveldayoff has recovered really well on the Trubas of the world who say, "I don't want to play here anymore. Trade me somewhere else." So good for them. But I'm here to say they're a team that were okay last year, got crushed in the playoffs, and I don't see how they improved. I don't see how they look at their team this year and think they're going to do any better. Do you?
Yeah, it's hard. I'm still surprised at how solid you were all year defensively, and then to just get absolutely you watch that series, Spec.
Yeah.
Colorado just flew by the Jets, and their speed or their lack of ability to slow down Colorado was so apparent, and then Hellebuck was meh. So, I think I just wonder about the Jets. What are they? I think it's a matchup. I know Hellebuck's good, but Edmonton, for whatever reasons, had some pretty good success against them over the years. So, Edmonton, Frank Saravalli on our pod earlier this morning was talking about last year, the top 4 teams who skated the most distance in the NHL last year. Florida was first, Edmonton and Dallas were second, tied, and the Rangers were 4th. They were the 4 final teams. And like Connor McDavid obviously skated more than anybody else. And I'm not talking speed, just distance. Like he's always moving. And
so does this mean with the puck or without the puck?
It's just miles traveled on the ice. They track every player, right?
Okay.
And so just how they're skating. So Edmonton is very much a motion team, right? They don't have they don't stand around a lot. Now they have some guys, and so it's not speed. I want to recommend it's not speed. Although McDavid, I think, had the second fastest burst. The guy in Philly beat him by like 0.200 a second. But Nathan McKinnon was the most consistent fast skater. But Edmonton is a team, they really moved all over the place. And guess what? Only one team in the top 16, Calgary, they were 15th, didn't make the playoffs. Speed kills in the NHL, and it was proven at the NHL Edge site. You can go check it out yourselves, people, if you're interested in looking at it. And I look at Winnipeg, I think they had them 12th, decent, but it showed in the playoffs. They were fast, but not fast like a dominant Colorado team. And if I'm Edmonton tomorrow, I'm trying to get on them. Obviously, you know McDavid's speed, but the rest of them play fast. Right. And you move, you're in constant motion. It's hard to defend.
Well, I'm a little, I'm fascinated with the Oilers. I mean, ask Leon Draisaitl about their speed earlier in the preseason, and they lost fast guys. Like, I'm going to tell you, on last year's team, their fastest player is Connor McDavid. The second fastest forward was probably Ryan McLeod. The third fastest forward, I'm going to say, was probably Warren Foegele. Dylan Holloway was in there somewhere in the top 5 or 6, right? So they lost 3 of their top 5 or 6 speed forwards, in my opinion. They're a slower team this year. There's no question about that. So Leon said, yeah, but the puck moves faster. We can play fast. We're going to play fast. We're going to move the puck. Okay, I'm not saying he's wrong, but that's the key here. The Oilers have to, the stat you just mentioned and the requirement for fast skaters to be in that statistic, they don't have as many fast skaters as they used to have. This team is slower than it was. So can they move the puck? Can they make up for that with fast play? The puck's always faster than the man. We all know that. I'll be watching for that this year, and I'll be asking other teams and other coaches, do you see a slower team, and does that make the Oilers easier to play against? We're going to find that out here.
Spec, we will talk hockey tomorrow. Enjoy the games tonight, the MLB and more. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
There you go. That's Mark Spector. The Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. The Panthers will raise their banner tonight. I'm sure Oilers fans won't be watching that one, and rightfully so, as they host the Jeremy Swayman list. It looks like Korpisalo is going to get the start tonight, which makes sense, especially when the coach had already announced that Korpisalo was starting. I don't think there's any reason not to start him for tonight. We all know Swayman's a starter moving forward, but give him a few extra days off. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. When we return, DVD will join us and we'll do the draw. Somebody's going to the game tomorrow night. Pair of sweet seats. Just watch the Oilers and the Jets.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for kids' sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapickout.com.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction in sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners.
Volvo of Edmonton.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
It's Midnight Madness at the Brick. Stores will be closed on Friday to lower prices and then reopen at 5 p.m. with incredible 7-hour deals in every department. Get 30% off furniture and free local delivery when you spend $4.99 or more. Plus, get 40% off mattresses and buy any TV or appliance to get a $50 credit for furniture, home decor, and mattresses. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an HVAC technician. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to install furnaces. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well,
okay. Call Legacy, call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hope you're having yourselves a lovely Tuesday evening. The Gregor Show is always presented by Alberta.ca. Get in Lotto Max, $55 million. And 4 Lotto Max, Alberta.ca. So now you'll see we have a brand new Sports 1440 hat for all of you who are watching. Just so anybody wants to go back and watch the show, you'll see Connor Halley is going to walk over here and do the draw as we have the names in the draw. Thanks again to Simon and Brian and Ethan and Conrad. And who else am I missing? There's before I just want to say thanks to who else am I missing? Kelly, Ethan, Conrad, Simon, Brian, and Justin. So thank you very much. Con's picked out the name, and it is dun dun dun. We'll put that up close so you can see it. Maybe you can't. It says Justin. Justin, you are the winner. Congratulations. We will get your information, and you got a pair of sweet seats to the Oilers home opener tomorrow night. Thanks to everybody who donated, helping out the Gregor Foundation. So that's fantastic. A few more grads. There we go. It's a slow process. Last year we had 214 grads that we helped out. So it takes a lot of fundraising over the year. So thank you very much. That gets us almost 2 kids right there. So that is awesome. So thank you to Justin. You are in. Hey, boys, there's no compensation for speed from Colin. In some cases, yes. But let's not kid ourselves. Like, Arvidsson is not, like, ridiculously slow. Right? Pod Colson, I think, is a decent skater. I've watched Pod Colson. I don't like, is he grossly slower than the other guys? Jeff Skinner definitely doesn't skate as well as Fogle. Ryan McLeod. Now, it's interesting because Adam Henrique was here. Ryan McLeod was here. Ryan McLeod, obviously, it's kind of different for sure. Ryan McLeod is probably the Oilers' second fastest forward, so they're not replacing him. It's fair. They're probably not as fleet of foot on the back end, up front. You can argue that Emerson and Stetcher in a straight line might be quicker than Desharnais and Ceci, but they're smaller combined. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, Stetcher looks like a garden gnome almost beside Vinny Desharnais. So speed is an element, and we'll see. It's something that if you're the GM, you watch it, you monitor it, and if you notice it being an issue, you address it. Right? That's why I do think you will see Noah Philp here sooner or later. He had some speed, man. That guy can skate. He's not Ryan McLeod fast, but he's pretty good. Pretty good skater. And he's 6'3". He's a big guy. Hey, guys, McLeod was super fast, but he's also on the perimeter. I'd rather take Henrique, much better goal scorer. It's a valid point. It's a valid point. Now, the penalty kill to me, Cece's gone, Desharnais's gone, McLeod's gone, Fogel's gone. That's some pretty decent guys in your penalty kill. Now, you have Brown, you have Janmark. Connor Brown is pretty quick, a lot quicker than he was in a regular season last year. Him and Janmark, good penalty killers. You got Henrique, you got Ryan, you got Nugent Hopkins, you got Podkolzin, and those are going to be the 6 forwards. You still got Nurse, you still got Ekholm, you still have Kulak and penalty kill for you. Emberson hasn't done a lot, but he will. And the 5th penalty killer this year is likely going to be Evan Bouchard. Not likely, it will be Evan Bouchard. So I'm curious to see how many minutes he gets on the PK. So there you go. And Justin just texts in, hey, fellas, thanks so much, man. My father turns 66 next week. He's going to take him to the game. Oh, look at you, Justin. Good son right there. Dad will be fired right up. Happy 66, Dad. Enjoy it. It's nice. Make sure Dad buys you a beer, even though it's his birthday. He'll appreciate it. Now, let's bring in Derek Van Diest as we get to the Oil Report, brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Stop in at Volvo. And right now, XC90s and XC90 plugins, hybrids, the 2025 models are in. Only at Canada's #1 Volvo dealership, VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Derek Van Diest from NHL.com joins us. DVD, how are you, my man?
Good, Jason. How are you doing today?
Hey, buddy. I'm pretty good. There's lots going on, lots to discuss. Seattle remains winless in their season openers. They dropped to 0-3-1 in franchise history. The Blues continue to be the best team long term on the road when they start their season, as they win again. Their 32nd time they've started on the road for a season, and got another big win for them. Broberg and Holloway combined for one of the goals. They had 3 goals and $1.55. It totally changed the whole game as they win 3-2. I look at the Edmonton Oilers. They've had a lot of, moving around here, salary cap wise, players up and down. Lavoie's claimed, then he's put back on waivers. We know they're going to put in a claim. I think he'll probably be back in. So after all said and done, it's really, Noah Philp goes down. Josh Brown was probably a surprise, I think, a little bit to some, maybe not based on his play. What do you make of their starting lineup, and how quickly do you think we see recalls and changes from Bakersfield?
Well, up front, I don't know if they have a lot of options up front. They got Savoy, obviously, and they got Cam Wright that they signed. If they do, they'll put in a claim on Lavoie. Pretty much Chris Knobloch kind of admitted that today. He said that hasn't played itself out yet. If they get him back, then obviously here's a third guy that they can kind of recall. I think on the back end, I think basically Dermott just won a spot. He came in and he won that 7th defenseman spot. So he won a spot there. But I think the Oilers are pretty set when it comes to their forward group. And I believe it's going to take an injury or two to kind of start, get some of those guys recalled and come up. But you know what? Eventually, like you said, we're probably going to see Phelps come up here at some point. We're probably going to see Savoy come up at some point. Because I think during the season, I think they want to look at these guys. They want to see, especially if they're having good years down in Bakersfield, they want to see if they can handle that next level of come up and play well at that next level. And that's important. It's important to see if a guy can play well in Bakersfield, if you can kind of continue that. I know sometimes you're in Bakersfield, you're playing a top 6 role, you come up to Edmonton and suddenly you're in a bottom 6 role. So that kind of makes it tougher for some players. But I do think the Oilers want to see their depth this year. They want to see what they have. And, they want to get off to a good start. So they want to have that luxury of being able to bring some guys up and taking a look at them throughout the season.
Yeah, I think, Noah Philp will come up. Hey, Raphael Lavoie could find himself back in the NHL with one injury, to a right winger. I wouldn't be shocked by that by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll see. Chris Knobloch yesterday, DVD, talked about how he wanted some different line combinations and, he would try different things. How much of this do you think is just going to come down to matchups for Chris Knobloch? And now I know he's not going to switch lines every game or every second game or not, but I wonder how much of this is just to see what he has, in the regular season. But ultimately, Jeff Skinner, I still believe, is going to find himself playing more minutes with Draisaitl or McDavid than he will with Henrique.
No, I agree with you there. And we talked about that yesterday. Winnipeg comes in. They're pretty deep. They're a deep team in the sense that there's not a ton of drop off between their first and second line, second and third and fourth line. So they're kind of even in that way. And I think Chris Knobloch talked about he wants to have some balance at his lines because he expects the Jets to roll their lines, especially for the first two periods. So he wants to be able to match that and roll his lines with them. But I think this year, and I know Jay Woodcroft talked a lot about it last year, about being able to move some of these chess pieces and having that flexibility. And I do think that this year the Oilers have probably more flexibility in the top six than they've ever had before. They had in the last little while, because I do think they have six legit top six forwards. I thought in the past they had five guys and they were always trying to find a sixth guy and they're moving different guys in there. I do think they have legitimate top six forwards, and you have your bottom six guys that can play those roles if you need to. You can move Arvidsson up. You can move. Sorry, not Arvidsson. You can move. Some of those guys on the third and fourth line. You can move them up and play in that top six role. So I think he's got a lot of ideas in his head, probably Chris Knobloch, of what he wants to see and what he wants to look at and what the different combinations were. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, but I can probably guarantee you if the Oilers find themselves down late in the third period, we'll see McDavid and Draisaitl together. Every coach has that card that's ever come through here. Every coach plays that card when they have to. Some go to it earlier than the others. I know Chris Knobloch doesn't want to play it too soon, but eventually we'll see those two guys playing together. But I do believe Jeff Skinner will be playing with Leon Draisaitl, and if he can find that goal-scoring touch again, there's no one in the world that's better at passing the puck than Leon Draisaitl is. So I think Jeff Skinner could have a big year if he kind of finds that scoring touch, finds those pockets of space, and is able to kind of make himself available for Leon Draisaitl. I think really interested to see what he does, really interested to see what Arvidsson does, if he can stay healthy, what he does for 82 games, because I think both of those guys have serious upside, a lot of potential to really make an upgrade on the Edmonton Oilers forward group.
Now, this one's a little bit off the board. It's not necessarily the best question, but we know it's going to happen at some point. Which NHL coach right now do you think is on the hottest seat? Like who's the one coach who with a slow start could find himself losing his job?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Coach with the hottest seat. I guess you got to look at expectations, right? You got to look at what the expectations are for some of these coaches and whether or not I would think Vegas always has big expectations there, right? So if they don't get off to a good start, that could be trouble. And they're not afraid to pull the plug on coaches, right? They're not afraid to do that. So I would look at that. If Vegas doesn't get off to a good start, I think there may be some heat there in Vegas. Apart from that, I think you wish that some teams had more patience with their coaches. They spend a lot of money on these coaches and they bring them in. These coaches put in, but there are some teams that really think expectations are high, and if teams don't meet those expectations, I think there's going to be some trouble. But you know what? If I had a bet, I would probably bet Vegas replacing their coach if things don't get off to a good start there.
Awesome. DVD, we will see you at the rink tomorrow. Have a good one.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
You betcha. Here we go. Spirited tilt early on in this Boston, Florida game, Con. I didn't get the number on it, but some guys fired up early on. I like it. NHL's back, baby. The Blues had 3 goals and $1.55. They come back to defeat the Kraken. Jordan Eberle, by the way, has been announced the second captain in Kraken history. And Morgan sent in, I love little said, did you know now that all 32 NHL teams have a captain? That's the first time, Connor Halley, since 2010, 2011, that all teams in the league had a specified captain.
I like it. Appropriate leadership for all these teams. And Gregor, just nothing you don't know, but Florida Boston played last year. I think we saw some spirited moments in that series. Panthers went on to win in 6, but maybe a few things guys want to settle here before the season really gets rolling.
Yeah, well, and that was 2 new guys too, right? Kastelik, who came over from Ottawa, and AJ Greer, who came over from Calgary, trying to win over their new teammates. But there was really a big hit, man. Kastelik laid a pretty big hit on set. Clean hit, by the way. Like, I like a fight, but I don't think you have to fight if you deliver a hard check. I'm sorry, I don't love it. I'm not, it's not a hill I'm dying on. I'm not like, oh my God, this is terrible. But Like, to me, big hits are allowed, especially if they're clean. Just saying. Quick break. We'll come back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Raise a smoothie to any friend you've had since 1999. That's a good friend. And Booster Juice was there. Now celebrating 25 years in Canada and more than 450 locations from coast to coast. A silver anniversary splashed with lots of oranges. Celebrate 25 years of Booster Juice with the return of OG favorite smoothies like the original, the Orangesicle, and the Marathon. Made with cranberries, bananas, strawberries, orange sorbet, and probiotic yogurt. Happy 25th Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and the time to think about winterizing your RV is before the snow flies. There's a lot of steps you need to take to winterize your trailer or motorhome.
And you have to get every step right every single time. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob, because if you make even a little mistake, you might not realize it till spring. By then, it's too late to fix what you got wrong.
Hey, Rick, do you winterize your own trailer?
Not anymore, Bob. I hired people who are smarter than me, genius technicians who check every component, dozens of systems to be maintained and protected. And today, we offer that service to you, starting at $99. Every winterization package comes with a full report in writing, so you know what to expect come spring. If you're confident to do it yourself, have at it. If you're like me and you'd rather have this done by somebody who knows what they're doing, then come to Noble, and we'll take care of you.
And that's Noble. No Bull RV.
.547. Ooh, the defending champs. Goldorama here. We saw it in the early game. today, where 3 goals in a $1.55 for the St. Louis Blues led them to a 3-2 victory. And now the Florida Panthers get goals in 1 minute and 4 seconds. Sam Bennett, and then Losterinen scores. And that came, 32 seconds after the fight. So Florida obviously liked Greer going after Kastelik. It seemed to work for people who like to claim, standing up for your teammate never fires people up. Never is a strong word. Doesn't always, but it did there today. And the Panthers building's going crazy, as you'd expect after they raise the banner. Everybody's all excited. We're winning again. I get it. Oiler fans, you'd be the exact same. If the Oilers were doing their banner raising ceremony, you would be believing that they're going to win again, as you should, right? Oiler fans feel the Oilers are going to win this year. They got a pretty good team, so should be fun. But man, the Panthers, how about this? They're out shooting the Bruins 12-1 in the first 7.5 minutes of the game. Emotions there. Now, remember what we said? Kevin Woodley. The reason I picked, and a lot of people are mocking me, and that's fine. That's why it's a prediction. It's just a prediction. I don't lose sleep over it. Like, if anybody out there is accurate in all their playoff predictions, good for you. But I was like, somebody's eventually got to fall out. And Kevin told us that Boston's defensive numbers weren't nearly as good as people think because their goaltending was pretty good. But they actually gave up a lot of quality chances. And I know it's super early, but they're getting pummeled again. And so that was my reason to think that Boston, I had to pick somebody. I just felt like somebody had to fall out. So that's why I picked Boston. Hey, guys, I'd argue that fighting after a big hit is a good strategy. It might deter a guy from really blowing up a player if he knows he's going to have to fight. Kind of a deterrent from Noel. Yeah, maybe. But like, if you're Mark Kastelik, you're not worrying about delivering a hit because you have to fight AJ Greer. Kastelik would be like, I'll fight AJ Greer all the time. It's not going to bother me. So it might depend on who it is, maybe. But Kastelik's a player who, he accepted the fight right away. Other guys will deliver a big hit, and you can run after them. It doesn't mean they're going to fight. So I agree with what you're saying, a deterrent to maybe a player who doesn't want to fight, but then he probably doesn't. That's the thing. Like, you can't just jump guys. Well, you can, but then you get 2, 5, and a 10. And so not a lot of them want to do that. So we'll see how it goes, see how it plays out. Lots more to get to. Ooh, almost another tilt here. There's some good energy in this game now, man. I love it. Well, the Bruins got to try to find something. Oh, baby, NHL is back. Can't wait. Maybe you get home, you might want to watch it. Hey, Trent Frederick, Frederick can go. Him and Sam Bennett. Ooh, I'd like to see that. Too bad the officials got in there. But Frederick, he's kind of what do we call him? A light heavy? Maybe a big middleweight? Whatever, though. He can chuck him. So can Bennett. That'd be a hell of a tilt. I will say this, Cons. If you got guys who want to go, let them go. That's all I'll say. Just let them go.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, Gregor, we've been saying it for a long time. Like, you shouldn't have to defend a clean hit. Like, you shouldn't have to fight because of it. But we see it all the time. Like, maybe is that it now? Like, you do have to? Like, no one's going to force you to drop it. But the amount of times that we see a clean hit and the player who delivers it has to, have some sort of repercussion. Like, maybe we got to change the narrative that is kind of what happens now. Like, that's hockey.
So if you deliver a big hit, you have to fight.
I don't think you should have to, but
you're saying that you have to.
Isn't it kind of like that right now? Like, when was the last time we saw a clean hit and like the opposing team just says, "Oh, that was clean. Don't do anything." Like, there's always some sort of repercussion now.
Well, it depends. If it's any sort of clean but kind of high, that one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And depends on who, I guess.
Yeah.
If it's a clean hit on like David Crosby, there's going to be something. But it just seems like every time we see this, like, there's always at the end of the sentence, he shouldn't have had to fight there. Yeah. But every time it seems like they have to.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. So, man, I'm just excited to have regular season. Like, you watch anybody who was getting all their shorts in a knot about the preseason. Now you'll see. All you got to do is go watch 10 minutes of this game and be like, "Oh yeah, this is regular season." What happened in the preseason? You can't take anything away from it. I'm sorry, you can't. It is a completely different game. It's just like, and that's what's hard about the regular season, because it's long and it does matter for home ice. But man, the game changes so much even in the playoffs. That's what hockey can be infuriating, but also great, is how you know what? You've got to be a team that can win in the regular season, but also you kind of got to be built to play in the playoffs. It's more physical. It's more grinding. It's bigger. Every shift matters more. So you can't have any perimeter guys. You can be a perimeter guy and be successful in the regular season. It's hard to be a perimeter guy and be successful in the playoffs. It just is. The numbers back it up year after year. But man, it is great to see it back on. I'm excited. Can't wait. Should be awesome. So there we go. On behalf of Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. It's it's been an awesome Tuesday, baby. Tomorrow the Oilers, and oh, by the way, our regular season debut of the pregame show, an extended edition with Walker and our man Donovan. It's coming up at 6. We will have Andrew Walker, for those of you who are unaware of our new pre and post game host. Did a great job on Friday. He's going to come in fired up against the Canucks. Worked in that market, so he knows Canucks fans. Should be a lot of fun. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a wonderful Tuesday evening. And remember, 40% off at Papa John's. Woo, I love it. Let's get to the Command Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. The Canada-wide clearance is on now at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on a 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation. See more at gmcoffers.ca. Good night.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
After being claimed by the Golden Knights on Monday, Raphael Lavoie been waived by Vegas. Chris Krieger, Mackenzie Entwistle, and Mark Freeman also placed on waivers. Seattle Kraken today named Jordan Eberle as their second captain in franchise history. The first since Mark Giordano in their inaugural season. Eberle did wear the A the last 3 seasons in Seattle. Kraken were in action today. They took a 2-0 series lead, but the Blues would score 3 straight to win by that score. Right now, Panthers up on the Bruins 2-0 midway through the first period. Later tonight, Utah hosting Chicago. Puck drop just after 8 o'clock at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. Major League Baseball, the Mets beating up on the Phillies right now 6-2. This one in the bottom of the 8th. That series tied at a game apiece. Dodgers, Padres also tied at a game each. They'll meet at 7:08 from Petco Park in San Diego. From the CFL, Jarius Jackson says that Trey Ford will get the start this weekend when the team takes on the Stampeders down in Calgary. Jarrett Doege may get some snaps as well. Mike McLeod-Bethel-Thompson likely not to start. The NFL New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh has been fired after a 2-3 start to the season. He had a record of 20-36 since joining the organization back in 2021. And in Foxborough, New England Patriots announcing that Drake May will take over as the team's starting quarterback. He was the 3rd overall pick in the 2024 draft. WNBA tonight, Game 5 of the semifinal between the Lynx and the Sun. Tip off in about 5 minutes. Winner will take on New York in the final on Thursday. And in the association, Hornets lead the Heat 53-49. The Bulls trail the Cavs 61-47. Pistons behind the Suns 47-44. And the Pacers have a 22-11 lead over the Hawks in the first quarter. Later tonight, Clippers take on the Nets. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, it's Fox Sports, and tomorrow morning, game day edition of the Kevin Carius Show. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.